Cool. Good evening, ladies and gents. A big welcome to the Seagate Gaming Solidarity E-Race qualifying to Heat 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this time, Sash, we're going to be playing around in the Audi. I just want to say to everybody out there, I've started the show in this cap just in memorial of course, my good friend Nicky Hayden, who celebrates his 3rd anniversary of his death today. So we wish all his family and everybody all the very best from us here at Solidarity E-Race. But of course, let's get our caps on, Sash.
Yeah, I agree. It was a sad day in moto cycling, and of course, it's such a tragic accident. Got hit his riding his bicycle, and unfortunately passed away. So, and a world champion. So, and one of the most colourful guys out there as well. So, rest in peace. You are missed.
Yeah, 2006 MotoGP world champion, incredible rider, as you said, Sash, and definitely a man that had a big career ahead of him. And I think he would have probably been in the mix in the current scenario as well, had there been nothing like that. But I can tell you something, Sash, we are in for an epic evening this evening. Watching the banter that's been going on since last night's quarterfinal number 1, and the heats that went out there in the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. Lots of fun and games happened last night. It was great to see. But the other thing we need to watch out for tonight, of course, is the change-up in the car. We go to the Audi Quattro S1 E2 rally car. An amazing piece of machinery.
Yeah, one of the most iconic motors that ever made. Introduced the 4-wheel drive system, independent suspension back. It had its whole sort of just about 50 split when it came to the weight of the car, 2.1 litre, 5-cylinder. I mean, the power that eventually this car managed to push out, Greg, was extraordinary. And also, it one of the most famous rally drivers, and Michel Mouton. So, everything that Audi's vehicle was 100% perfect.
The other thing, of course, is it's been and done it in terms of anything it participated in, whether it was World Rallies in Group B, whether it was here in South Africa in the National Rally Championship, whether it was on Pikes Peak with an incredible amount of history behind that car. Looks like Sash might just need a little reboot there. But I think also the other interesting fact that we need to bring in with that is it is a Pikes Peak record holder for a long time. And I tell you, this is a car that I think a lot of people are going to get excited about when they see it in full flight here this evening on our Solidarity E-Race. It's a completely different animal to what we had last night with the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale. And I think what we're going to see tonight is a lot closer action because of the nature of the car and the ability to sort of throw it around a little bit more. Remember, with the all-wheel drive, if you do put a wheel in the dirt or you do put a wheel just slightly wrong, and with the rally suspension in that car, means that you can hit the curbs a bit harder, means you can go into the S's a bit harder, means you can throw the car around. But body roll is definitely going to be a big concern for a lot of these people, and a lot of these guys are going to be driving tonight. What we've seen as well over the last 24 hours... Oh, there's Sash is back. There you go.
I got so excited with the Audi that I pushed the wrong button over here, Greg. Sorry about that. Yeah, listen, it's going to be pretty extraordinary what these guys are going to be able to achieve in this car, and if they go off track, how they're going to handle it. But I mean, power, and just such a magnificent car. I just cannot wait to hear. Greg, give us your turbo noise. Come on.
Yeah, when that waistcoat opens and you're sitting in Solby Forest and you hear, then you know. Then you know. That is just mind-blowing stuff, but I get Goosey's just thinking about it. You know what I'm saying?
No, stunning. I think we're in for something very, very exciting this evening, as we did last night. With cars that the guys aren't really accustomed to driving, so it's going to take quite a lot of kahunas to keep that on the track at speed.
Well, we mentioned the fact that with their rally suspension and with the setup on those cars, they can hit the curbs a bit harder. They can go over the curbs a bit more. They might just have to watch out from the COC and the steward's point of view that they don't go too heavily over the limits of the circuit that they're allowed to play in. But of course, if the car does go off slightly, the all-wheel drive Quattro system that comes in is definitely going to help them out in having to recover the car a lot easier than what they were able to last night with the rear-wheel drive in the Alfa.
Yeah, very much so. So I mean, the guys can really push it to the limit. They can probably, hopefully, go into corners a little bit quicker than they did in the Alfa Romeo, and maybe the damage on the vehicle won't be as severe as on the Alfa Romeo if they do touch the barriers.
Well, the cool thing with that damage as well is it's all carbon fiber on that car. So if it breaks off, it breaks off. And 9 times out of 10 in rallying in those days, and of course here in South Africa in those days, the cars would come back with bits and pieces of wing missing and splitters missing and you name it, but they would still be able to drive at like breakneck speeds.
Yeah, I mean, listen, those days when Cyril van der Merwe had the cars, I think it was Jeff Mortimer, I'm sure you mentioned
Yeah.
it earlier. It just, I mean, extraordinary technology that was brought into South Africa and the way that it just dominated the rally classes across South Africa. As I mentioned, it is an iconic vehicle in the world of motorsport. It is something that, if you collect model cars, that's one you have to have in your collection.
It's right in front of me. Just to let you know. It's sitting right in front of me as we speak. But needless to say, listen, speaking of speaking, how awesome was the entries into the commentators competition overnight?
Well, I tell you, it's just so great that people have embraced this part of, or this element of the Solidarity E-Race by Seagate version 3. And it's wonderful to see people, going out there, working their passion, being brave enough to actually go there and voice themselves, Greg. I think they've done a great job.
I know Brendan got sent the email, so I'm just waiting to see if he's actually picked up on them. And if we have, we're going to run through a couple of those if we can. So the idea, of course, we wanted to have a chat with MSA this evening. Unfortunately, we never got any feedback from them. So we did get all the entries in from Niels Kemp, Craig Ecote, Kyle Lawrence, and, of course, G-Max, George Smith. Those are the first 4 entries we've had in our commentator search competition. They've gone up on the page, Sash, which is really cool. And what they have to do now, of course, is get the engagement on their page and on Solidarity E-Race's page.
Yeah, listen, now it's going to be doing work in your magic, work in your networks, get all of your friends, family or whatever to go in there and vote for you and post some comments about what they think about you. Hopefully they'll be favorable because believe you me, when you get into the world of commentary and radio and television, not everyone's your friend, but this time you're really going to need them to be your friend.
Well, we can see on track. There we go. That's what it's all about. Starting things off there. Corné Breert. Look at that. There it is. The icon of rallying from the sort of 80s into the early 90s. An untouchable and unbreakable mark. Let's have a listen to some of the audio if we can get that out as well. Oh, there you go. That's exactly what you want to be doing. You get it out of shape. Just keep it buried, man. Get that Quattro to work. Maybe he's got the boost turned down here for the first part of the race there, Sash. Maybe just losing. You're getting used to it. Jordan Sherritt out on track as well. Remember, he was quickest. He was quickest last night, and look how quick he's gone already. I think it's a 7:11. 7:11. That's already 13 seconds quicker than what he did in the beer. Looks like we might have lost Sash there again, so I'll just wait for him to come back and join us. We're watching a couple of these guys out on the circuit. Absolutely brilliant to see them going at flat-out breakneck speeds. Jordan Sherritt in car 1. Janssen van Rensburg will be in car 2. Damian Halkett is in 3. Yuri Ampi-Swart is in 4. And, of course, that's the breakdown of the heat, but not necessarily of the car numbers. Jonathan McCullough is Travis Fourie. 13, Corné Breert. We just saw him. Mark Henry in 14. Brett Lindsay Ray is in 15. Daniel Rowe in 16. 17 is Tian Damas, and Klein Jakes is there in 18. In fact, I also heard that from a reliable source, we, of course, had Baby Vettel on the show last night. That's Stuart White. So, in fact, I think Tian Damas comes from Bloemfontein, if I'm not mistaken. And we, of course, had Baby Vettel on the show last night. That's Stuart White. So, in fact, I think Tian Damas could possibly take on the role of being the next Lewis Hamilton coming out of Bloemfontein. So that's how it stands. Sherritt so far looks like he was quickest out there. I'm not quite sure if we've been able to pull up those videos just yet. We're waiting to see if they're able to be done. But there you have back in studio, and on the right-hand side of me, on the left-hand side of your screen, looking at it, turn that boost up yet, and we'll hear those wastegates open up as soon as they get under the braking and under the down. Is the action out on track? Sherritt pushing hard, as you can hear. Hasn't quite turned that boost up yet, and we'll hear those wastegates open up as soon as they get under the braking and under the down change. It's amazing to see these cars flat out. And 711, he did a 750 last night in the Alfa Romeo. He was quickest last night. He was quickest out of the top 80 in the shootout, of course. And interesting to see how awesome he's got to the front end. And he's been at the front end literally every single session. So from the hot lap qualifiers on a 724.2 to a 750 point something last night. And now 711s coming out of this Audi. That is mind-blowingly quick. Right, so it looks like we've got our first video lined up. Let's go and find out what our contenders are going to be like in the commentator search. We'll come back to the action in a few minutes' time. And hopefully Sash will be back as well to see, and some comments coming from him as to what's going to happen in this commentator search.
We're on board now with Ferrant as he heads into Sunset behind Peters. With just over 2 minutes left to go, he's going to be looking for a way past on Peters. Through Sunset, he's lost a bit of ground there. He managed to get a car length back here. Closes up on Peters now as they head through Clubhouse into the S's. This is a very strong part for the Porsche. It's been quick here all weekend. Tight through the left hand. He's carried a lot more speed through the left. Onto the apex of the right. And he's gained the run. He's got the run up the hill now. He's going to be diving right to give the dummy to Peters. Peters wise to it though. He goes deep to the inside. He's going to need to get that out. He's stopped and tight back onto the apex to stop the cutback. But Ferrant able to get down there. Peters basically leaving him all the room in the world and giving him the run down to the mineshaft now. Ferrant down on the inside now as they head into the mineshaft. He's got the move done in my mind, but Peters trying to go around the outside and get onto the inside for the right-hander. Squirrely on the brakes, turns it around and just misses Ferrant's nose. Almost taking both of them out there. So Peters trying to push hard around the mineshaft, get the run into, there's the replay now. You can see him just out-braking himself and unable to get that car slowed down and turned into the right-hander.
So there you have it. That was the first entry there from Carl Lawrence. A good effort there from him, I've got to say. And, of course, Carl Lawrence has had a little bit of experience when it comes to race commentary and also to live stream commentary. So that's a big, big factor for him to take into account. And, of course, hopefully all his friends and fans are starting to engage with that post he's put up on his own Facebook page as well as on the Solidarity E-Races page. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to get those posts in. Carl Lawrence from karting is the man I'm talking about. He's the man, of course, who does a lot of the stuff with EFX and with the karting that happens at the Rock Cup. And, of course, he also prepares and looks after a couple of the youngsters that are involved in the sport of karting here in South Africa. So Carl Lawrence doing a super job there. He was our second entry, I think, or third entry. Our first entry came from George Smith. We've got Niels Kemp, and we've also got Craig Eckert. I'm not quite sure which one we've got lined up next. But, okay. We haven't got any lined up just yet. I thought we were going to go through all four of them, but we're not at this stage lined up with all four. But no worries, we'll get those sorted for you, as we're still seeing some action on track. And at this stage, of course, it's all qualifying still. They get a half-hour qualifying session before they go live at 7 o'clock for the first race of the evening. And it's Heat 1 of qualifying 2 in the Audi. Looks up. Next one coming up now. Let's have a look and see who's going to be there for us, Brent. All right, cool. We'll have a listen and hopefully we can pick up who it is.
The action has been thick and fast so far in all of the Solidarity E-Races. Right, and there's more to come here in the Nordschleifer affair. With Seagate Gaming and our associate sponsors behind the Solidarity E-Race, the commentary team have now come up with a new competition. Let's see if we can find the next commentator for South African motorsport. Check out this next clip and follow the instructions.
There's a Quattro there on that Audi. You're definitely not going to get that one right. If the Audi was in the dirt, different story. But I don't think the Porsche is going to have what it takes on the outside line on the dirt to try and find a way through there. There was certainly a mistake out of that Audi, which forced the Porsche onto the grass. Now we can see just how hard this Porsche driver is working. Ferrant we're on board with. And you can see Wesley Ferrant from iCore Racing pushing it to the limits and probably a little bit over those limits to try and close down on the Audi in front of him. Peters is in big trouble. And look, there's mistakes coming out of Peters all the time. The pressure's starting to be applied. He has a look on the inside. He dives on the inside and keeps up the attack from the Porsche 911. That GT3R and looking for an inside line on the triple apex corner. That's brilliant stuff. Absolutely pin perfect there from the Porsche as he comes down the line shaft. Alliteration aside, he gets it done to perfection. And can he hang on to it? He forces the Audi wide. The Audi's going to be on the inside though. He's late on the brakes. He's out of shape. Oh, he's got it out of shape. He's head straight into Crocodiles. The Crocodiles eating him up. As he goes out of Crocodiles, the Audi's dropped right out of it and loses 4 positions by the looks of things. A big mistake there. Have a look at that quick action replay. Yes, he goes past the Pirelli banners, and those Pirellis are going, no, we don't work so well in the kitty litter.
That looks easy enough, doesn't it? If you think you've got what it takes to be the next commentator, make sure you get your entries in. Check out all the information below and get onto the website for the commentator search. Send in your entries. You've got until Saturday. And on Saturday, you might be joining yours truly, Greg Maloney, and Sasha Martinengo in the semi-finals. And the best commentator will join us for the plate final on Sunday.
All right, well, that was the promo video. We're not quite sure how that got in there, but it looks like Kerry van der Spey might have sent the promo video as well. So the idea there, of course, is seeing the promo video. Is what went out originally for what was going to be happening here for the commentator search. And I had a voice clip from Kyle Lamy, which they then had to download a clean version of it and then do their own commentary of that clean version. And it's just the middle section of that video, as you could hear, with all the action that happened from Sunset through all the way down into Crocodile where the Audi loses it. So we've already heard Carl Lawrence do that one. We have got Craig Ecote, Neil Scamp, and George Smith, I think, going to be lined up in a few minutes' time. But the idea, of course, this evening is to show you guys and also give them a little bit of extra promo for their videos for getting them in so early. The competition ends tomorrow morning, so the guys that haven't entered just yet have only got the next couple of hours to get those entries in and to try and get some form of engagement on their social media platforms in order for us as the judging panel to make a call as to who's going to join us tomorrow night in the semi-finals. We've got 6 slots available. Right now, we've got, of course, 4 that have entered. So there's only 2 more slots that could potentially be taken up. And if you are looking to enter into this competition, which I know a lot of guys have sent me messages about, we still haven't seen your videos, guys. You've got to get in there and send us your videos. If you don't send us the videos, what are we supposed to do? You can't enter. There's 3,000 Rand up for grabs here. Come on. There's nothing wrong with 3,000 Rand right now, particularly under lockdown and with no income coming in for most of these guys involved in motorsport. It's certainly something that they want to be looking at. We want to be looking at as well as soon as possible. I'm not quite sure if we've been able to get the videos lined up for the next one. But Carl Lawrence, super job there, bud. No worries at all. Looks like you're going to be... Okay, looks like we didn't get any more of those videos, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. But that just leaves me with a little bit of action on track then, Brent. If we can go to the action on track, we'll have to chat about that. You don't want to be sitting and looking at me all the time. All right. So Jordan Sherritt, Yuri Ampiswat, Jonathan Machotsi, Cornet Britt, and looks like Robbie Teeng's out on track at this point. Still a 7:11, the time to beat. Ampi's 3 seconds off that pace, so he's doing 7:14s, probably 7:15, low 7:15s. Mochotsi's doing 7:17s. So a little bit of work to do for these guys. If that's the kind of pace that Jordan Sherritt is able to get, that's pretty impressive, considering the fact that they only got into these cars this morning. Got you, Sash.
I got to tell you, it's going to be one of those thrombosis days when it comes to technology. But I'm here. Yeah, Jordan Sherritt is just, I mean, he's lighting up this track no matter what car he gets in. Greg, very, very impressive.
Reset. That's a cool thing about it. Reset, okay. Control, Alt, Delete, start again. Look at this, Sash. Look at this onboard dash of the dasher, Sash. This is amazing.
It's just, I mean, amazing. It's just incredible. And you sit there and think, I mean, this is 35 odd years old. You know, that's with the technology that was involved in these cars. Look at him on the rev limiter completely. Yeah, I mean, he's got his gearing ratios a little bit peculiar, but on the limiter, I mean, these cars were incredible, part of the Group B racing of rallying until eventually it was, you know, banished from existence. But wow, what a car! What a pleasure it must be to drive this car around the Nürburgring.
Jeez, I'd love to drive it anywhere, but never mind the Nürburgring. I'd particularly like to take it off-road more than anything else. And possibly sort of up the hill at Pikes Peak would be pretty interesting as well. But yeah, no, as I said earlier on, Sash, I think these cars are definitely going to give us a little bit more action than what we saw last night amongst the Alphas. The Alphas kind of spread out a little bit, but I think we're going to see a little bit more bumping and barging and a little bit more anger in the driving that comes out of these few drivers this evening that'll be in each of the heats. Now remember as well, Sash, we've changed up the heats completely. All the names are thrown back into the Sorting Hat app, and it's a whole new 4 different heats tonight as opposed to what we saw last night.
Yeah, which I think is terrific to see as well. So the guys are going to be racing against other competitors, guys who maybe were a little bit closer to them in their times. So, yeah, I think we're really in for something great. And I agree with you, Greg. You know what? The guys might sit there and go, hey, these cars look a little bit more robust than the Alphas. So they might get their elbows out a little bit.
They certainly are. And I think those wing mirrors are going to be flying. We're going to splitters flying, wings flying as they get into the main part of the racing that's going to happen tonight. There's no doubt. I think the other interesting fact that we need to take into account here, Sash, if you looked at the heats, I did a little bit of calculations as to how things have fallen into those heats with what happened last night. And remember, we've got 4 drivers sitting on 25 points, 4 on 22, 4 on 20, etc., all the way down to third to 3 points. So that's literally how they sit at the moment. Jordan Sherritt is in this first final, the first quarterfinal tonight, Heat 1. But he also has Heat 4 winner from last night, Jonathan Machotsi, with him. And he has Devin Leisha, who, of course, was Heat 4 second place. So you've got 2 number 1s and a number 2 in the mix here with the likes of Mark Henbury, Daniel Rowe, Batis Janssen van Rensburg, Kurt Glashagen. We mentioned Yuri Swart. He's definitely a man to watch out for as well. After last night's performance in his Alpha, he looked really good. Adrian Wood, hopefully with no issues on his internet tonight, will be a factor to be taken into account too. And then, of course, the man we mentioned from Bloemfontein, Tion Damas, he likes to be known as the Lewis Hamilton of Bloemfontein, I got told.
Ah, fantastic. Good to hear. Yeah, listen, I think, you know what, Greg, we are getting down to the very business end of racing, and there are the quarterfinals, there are other heats, but I mean, those people last night who really came out impressed, they're up against each other. I mean, Jonathan Machotsi was incredible in that final heat last night. So, Jordan Sherritt will be very, very aware that everyone behind him has got pace.
And the pace is definitely going to be upping. If you look at the time already there as they get ready to load, this is where we go to of qualifying 2. And you can see on the screen, just on my right-hand side, the left-hand side, if you're looking at the screen watching us at the point, this is where our background and technical team come into play. They reload everything. I'm not quite sure we got a shot of the safety cars this time as well, Brendan. There may be a second safety car to keep an eye out for as well, if we can have a look at that. Which one did we get tonight? Last night we had sim racing. Let's see who's gone and taken the safety car for tonight in the Audis. What do you put in front of a pack of Audi E2s? Okay, I'll say no more. Same one. It's the sim race yellow design code that, of course, was put together there by the sim race guys.
Just brute force there, Greg. Brute force. Beautiful. Yeah, I think we're in for a cracking race this evening. I didn't hear, Greg. I was off comms there at the time. Is Zahir racing in this event, or is he withdrawn?
No, unfortunately, he's had to withdraw. A little bit of issues there for him. He's unfortunately had no way of getting back into the race action. Same with Bashir Jadwat. But I'm sure they're going to be back with us for the next one. And we'll see how they go with, of course, the possibility of the 4th edition of Solidarity E-Race. Looking forward to seeing if that's actually going to happen or not.
Yeah, very much. I know that it is also the end of, or towards the end of Ramadan, so very happy Eid to all of our Muslim viewers, and also Muslim races as well. That might be part of the reason. And, at least at this time of the evening now they can eat.
Yes, they can. we got to snack quickly before we came on screen, but of course the snacking is about to end because we're almost at that point where we see that 3K board to go. We're coming up to race start right now, Sash, and dropping the hammer as they get to this point, just around the corner there on the forest. It's go time. And it looks like it's Yuri Ampiswat who's trying to, there's a big move on the inside there from the full car. Had a massive look there, but didn't quite get through. You can see just how hard he was pushing. I think that might have been Leisha. Oh, sideways, it's backwards, it's T-Bone City down the back straight there. That was huge. What a way to start, Sash.
Unbelievable start. Look at them coming over this rise. I mean, they look like they're going to take off. We've got Jordan Sherritt in the lead from Janssen van Rensburg, and then Ampi Swart. I'm trying to think, Machotso's okay there in 5th. He was lucky he missed out on that carnage, but Devin Leisha, unfortunately, wow, he got smashed all over the place. Look at Janssen van Rensburg and Ampi's, but Jordan Sherritt flying away. These guys are going to have to forget about their scraps with each other and go after the leader. Oh, he runs wide. That's the Rensburg runs wide. Umpy Swart now into second place. What can he do about Jordan Sherrod in front of him?
Yeah, Umpy just got through there nicely, forcing the pressure onto Janssen van Rensburg. It looks like Batters had no answer there. He had to run wide and get out of the way. But now it's Yuri Umpy Swart into second, closing down on his good friend and karting compatriot out front there, Jordan Sherrod. You've got Brett in fourth place. Behind him, Jonathan Mokgotsi. Mokgotsi starting to come into the back. And they're on the grass again! In the background, they're on the grass. That's going to give Mokgotsi a chance to squeeze through. Looks like a big maneuver and a big mistake. Once again, coming out of Janssen van Rensburg. He drops back. Brett is to third. Mokgotsi is up to fourth.
I tell you, you sit there and go, these are all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive cars, and they still are a handful. I mean, these things are running at about 375 horsepower or kilowatts in their days. Unbelievable driver. We're on with Jonathan Mokgotsi. He's up to fourth place. He did start in second. He's only 8 tenths behind Brett, so let's see what he can do. But Jordan Sherrod, man, he got the long shot on this one. 2.6 seconds ahead of Umpy Swart at the moment.
You know, Yuri is having to do double time now to try and close that gap of 2.6 or 2.7 seconds. It changes every time they go through one of the timing beams. Brett in third with Mokgotsi all over the back. When we're following Mokgotsi at this stage, trying to close things down. Janssen van Rensburg, Adrian Wood reaches up there. Lindsay is into 8. 9 is Daniel Rowe. And Robbie Teens down to 10th place. Didn't quite get the start he wanted. Devin Leisha, though, is back on track. But have a look at that. If we add up all the split times there, he's about 30 or 40 seconds off the front end. And of course, there's only 2 laps of this race to go. So with 2 laps to race in, I don't know if that's enough time to get Devin Leisha back up there. He's going to try and have to salvage as much as he can because he currently sits on 22 points. He's got to try and ensure that he gets at least double figures in the points to stay in the hunt to get into the top 60 for tomorrow night. It looks like we might have lost Sash there yet again, so I'll just keep the commentary here. At this point, though, we're watching Brett closing down on the back end of Umpy. Umpy has closed the gap, so it looks like it could be a bit of a change up here for the lead. I think Jordan Sherrod Sherrod's actually a little bit higher up than what he is. He's getting away there to the tune of about 3.5 seconds. But it's Brett and Swart going at it. Swart just ahead here, Brett just behind him, pushing to the limit and probably more than what these cars can take. And that's what I'm talking about. On to the dirty stuff. So Brett looking like he's got a bit of a chance here, but I think Jonathan Mokgotsi's got other options in mind. There you can see just up the road, that is actually Yuri Swart, I beg your pardon. So Umpy is just up the road there. This is the battle for third place, and mistakes coming out of the 13 car. Brett taking the 13 number as he entered this evening and into the server. Lucky for some, that 13 normally works out quite nicely, but at this point in time, he's having to hang on. Look at, oh man, that was a great shot to have coming into the carousel there. Watching Mokgotsi just tip the front end of that Audi in and scraping the splitter on the banking of the carousel. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Wouldn't it be great to have like an onboard shot of that or an onboard camera on that splitter to actually hear the scraping and grinding that came through there. Looks like Sash has come back with us again. Sash, big battle on here between Brett and Mokgotsi for third place.
Yeah, this is terrific racing. And Greg, you called it right from the start. That guys were going to be close to each other. And this, oh, look at that sideways drift there from corner at Brett, with Jonathan Mokgotsi giving all of the pressure onto him. It might look spectacular sideways, but not the fastest way. Mokgotsi could have a run with him, that's for sure. And I tell you, we're having a look now at Damien Helkett. We've got Daniel Rowe right behind him, and of course Teams, and then of course Henneberg. I mean, this is an unbelievable scrap from 9 all the way down until 12th position. Much closer racing than the Alphas last night.
5 Audis going at it, flat out stuff, Sash, as they come down the hill now. They've just crested the top end of the circuit and making their way back down over that massive amount of undulation, 300 meters of elevation that they're going to play with here over the 20.83 kilometers of this version that we're using. There's a couple of versions available, of course, of Nordschleife. We're using the original version here on AC, and the AC Ultimate Edition is giving us these cars to play in. Last night we were fighting with rear-wheel drive 33 Stradales from Alfa Romeo. And
huge crash!
Sideways action, just clipping the curb. I said they're going to watch for the curbs. The curb's going to catch them out. Yes, they've got rally suspension, Sash, but they are not built to go and hit those big road racing curbs.
Yeah, there was a huge mistake there from Tings, and unfortunately got out of that scrap. So he's messed it up there. But you've got to change in 8th position. Halkett on a charge at the moment, and he's only 3 seconds behind Janssen van Rensburg. But Janssen van Rensburg very close to Rutz, and it looks like Rutz has run wide there. Yeah, Rutz has run wide. So Janssen van Rensburg goes into 6th position. Now he's got to chase down Adrian Wood. You've got to say Adrian Wood. Where did he come from, Greg?
I don't know where he's come from, but remember last night he was in the mix and then had a problem with his internet, and that caused his car to spike and go off, and they had to pull him out of the game, and that caused a massive crash, if you remember, Sash, last night in the Alphas. This time looks like he's got his internet all sorted out there. Well, no, actually it wasn't Road, it was Woody at this stage. Oh, I don't know, he's still in the mix there a little bit, so there's a bit of fun and games still to be had there, and there's a lot of positions still up for grabs.
I just love the fact that, the way that these original Audis are geared, they just get onto that rev limiter, listen to it on the limiter. There are no more revs. And he's like going, but I want to pass him. I can't do anything about it. But you're going to have to wait for somewhere where it's a little bit more bendy for that opportunity. But Mark Embry is all over Daniel Rowe at the curves. Here's Mark Henry chasing down Daniel Rowe. Daniel Rowe a little bit twitchy out of that. Henry's got to keep his head about him. He really should have the pace to get past him.
Tapping in now, coming out of the pit lane area. This is the first part of the circuit that they're playing in, and they are pushing it way beyond the limit of what these cars are able to do. But this is exactly what we expected, Sash. The little fights, the little niggly fights that are going to happen on every single part of the track, and there's going to be 2 or 3 cars in those scraps. This one starting to heat up a bit. As you can see, Rowe is certainly looking like there's some pressure coming from behind, and Henry is hounding him. He wants a way past. He's looking for an opportunity. Henry's sitting currently on 15 points. Daniel Rowe has got a lot of work to do because he's only sitting on 8. And if he stays where he is right now, Daniel Rowe will be scoring himself a possibility of 11 points. So that may just bring him back into the mix to get him into the top 60 for tomorrow. Rook's getting a little bit of aerial material stuff over the crest, and you can see that's exactly what we expected to on certain parts of these circuits with the undulation. Oh, somebody's off on the grass there, a little bit sideways. I think that might have been Roots. No, it's not. Roots just hanging in there, but only just. But just behind him, I think it was Janssen van Rensburg. Janssen van Rensburg getting a little bit out of shape, going onto the grass and onto the dirty stuff. Now remember, these guys will be running slick tires on this track, but they will have the Quattro system to play with, and that Quattro system is definitely going to come out here. So if they do run wide, they can just keep the car buried and it should kick in and allow them to bring the car back on track. That's why there's been a lot more recoveries than what they were last night from the big crashes we saw. Heartbreaking. Look at this. Heading up to the top now towards the castle. Halkett looking for a chance now on the back end of Zander Roots at the stage, hanging on. Tricky little section of the circuit. We heard it from some of our comments that were made last night. The middle part of the track is probably one of the most difficult parts to get right. It could be costly. And you can see just how costly it can be. We've seen Robbie Teens. Looks like Voldo Swiggers has had a bit of a problem somewhere on track as well. He's also dropped out of it. The Lewis Hamilton from Bloemfontein, 15th place there for Theo Damas. He's not where he wants to be. What was that locker? Zander Roots locking up from about 500 meters out and just kept it locked. That's going to affect his tires, there's no doubt. They are all-wheel drive cars, and we did mention the fact that if there is damage on them, they're probably going to be able to still drive with the all-wheel drive. But you still want to have as much downforce as you can get, and of course, the aerodynamics of these cars certainly help them out. Whoa! David Leisha diving through on Goshagen, and I don't think there was any answer coming from him. Great move there from David Leisha, but look at the damage on that windscreen. From the earlier incident he had, a big incident where he got T-boned and then slammed into the barrier. I beg your pardon, you can see just how hard he's having to work now as they come down the hill. Back into the mix, and of course, under braking towards the carousel, we head to the front end. And Jordan Sherritt with, almost 10-second lead now over Yuri Swart. That is a massive advantage to have. Machotzi there in 3rd place, about another 5 seconds adrift.
And I tell you, Greg, also watch out. Devin Leacher, he had that huge problem right in the beginning, up into 12th position. So, fighting back, and it's all about getting the points, because the more points you've got, the higher you've got that opportunity of making it into the top 60 for the semi-finals tomorrow evening. But Jordan Sherritt My word, this guy has really mastered the Nordschleife so far. He was incredible yesterday in the Alfa Romeo and just putting it all together beautifully around this circuit in this Audi S1 Evolution 2. Magnificent to watch these cars around the Nürburgring.
Yeah, the Evolution 1 didn't have all the wings and all the splitters on it. It was very much a plain car. But Evolution 2 certainly brought in all of the factors that Walter Roll put into play up the hill at Pikes Peak. And now also coming into play here at the Nordschleife affair with Seagate Gaming Solidarity Racing. And he's run wide, almost hits the barrier. Sash very lucky to survive that one. Oh, Mark Henry is hunting down the back end of Patrick Jans van Rensburg.
Yeah, I tell you, he's driving a superb race. Eventually got past Rowe. Now on Jans van Rensburg, going down the inside. It looks like he's going to take. Whoa! Now he's on the outside. It looks like Van Rensburg seems to have the inside line, but now he's going to go into the left-hander. I think he's got it. Brilliant pass for Mark Henry. Brilliant driving up into 7th place, and he's only 3 seconds down the road from Zanderroots.
Get the safety car out, get the marshal, start waving flags because stuff is about to go wrong here. This is normally what happens in a race like this is someone is going to end up in tears and possibly someone is going to end up on the roof because this is the kind of action we expected. I was hoping we were going to get this. And this is only race 1 tonight. It's heat 1 of another 3 to come. Oh man, we're in for a big one tonight, Sash.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Oh, it's a massive crash from Helkett. Can you believe it? What has he done? And Devin Leisha has gone through him. Helkett manages to get back onto the circuit, but huge off. And another one. Damien Helkett. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's a replay. You called it, Greg.
Oh, listen, is this World Rallycross or is this Audi's at the Nordschleife? Because it's kind of like World Rallycross right now, Sash. This is the kind of action we saw down at the Kalani International Track. And I tell you, this is exactly what these cars eventually ended up in. Remember, they went across to Rallycross before it became WRX. And Rallycross in Europe was massive with these cars. All those Group B cars that came out of rallying went straight into what was Rallycross at that stage, not WRX. And this is the kind of action we saw all the time in those kind of races.
That's for sure. Right on it. Here we go. Devin Leisha. Here we go. Can he do anything about Daniel Rowe in front of him? Oh, Rowe very early on the brakes there. I think that caught Leisha by surprise. And Leisha's got to go around the outside. Rowe is really struggling with the handling of his car. Or maybe he's just looking in his mirrors, rearview mirrors too much. But great driving from Devin Leisha. What can he do about Daniel Rowe? Mark Henry, only 0.5 of a second behind Zanderroots. And he's got past him. Henry's got past him, but we're staying with our Devin Leisha at the moment.
Shirt coming in amongst some of the black markers now as well, Sash. So black markers could be a bit of a problem here for Jordan Shirt. This is Devin Leisha. And you can see Devin Leisha now trying to get through on Daniel Rowe. He's got through on Rowe. Rowe loses out down the back straight. And then, of course, Audi Sport. And we got Audis in full flight down that Audi straight. Oh, man. Have a look at this.
Wow.
Coming over the horizon through the heat haze. I mean, there's not a lot of heat out there. It's about 20 degrees Celsius we're playing in. Listen to this.
Oh, man.
Brilliant. That is proper good stuff.
What a race. Unbelievable start to this evening's action in the Audis. And look at the end of it, Greg. If you look at Henry, Janssen van Rensburg, Roots, Leisha, all made up positions on that final last couple of kilometers, which can be critical when it comes to, a bit of sideways donut action as well. Could be critical coming to the point situation later. Fantastic race.
Certainly will be.
In our quarterfinals this evening.
So it looks like Daniel Rowe looks like he got taken out on that last corner there. So that's a little bit of an issue that'll probably have to be sorted out with our COC and the stewards. Oh, there we go. Little rubbings racing as they go past. I think that was a little retribution coming from Daniel saying, hey, don't do that to me, but that's not fair. Anyway.
I got to say, wonderful. What a start to the this evening's action. Chew. Woo.
Well, I'm just trying to stay in vision and also just add up points there. So it means Jordan Sheard is going to be on 50 points. That's good for him. If we move on to Jonathan Machotsi got a third there, so he's going to be on 45. And then we're going to go to second place with Yuri Swart, who'll be getting 22. So he gets himself 40. So Yuri Swart now, we got 50 points for Sherritt, 45 for Machotsi, Yuri Swart on 40. And then, of course, Corne Brett will get 4th place. And Adrian Wood will be getting himself a 5th place there. It's going to move him up nicely as well. Adrian Wood, remember, only finished with 4 points last night. So with his, I think he gets a 5th place there. His 5th place will give him 16. So that gives him to 20 points. So that's 20 points there for him. That's good to see. And then, of course, just going to work out what Corne Brett was on 16. He'll get 18 for the 4th, which will take him to 42. So not a bad effort there from him. 42. If that's right. I think my maths is right there. Yeah. My maths right there, yeah. 16, 18, 42, yeah. Right, so as it stands right now, Sash.
That was amazing.
Yeah, as it stands right now, Jordan Sherritt on 40, Machotsi on 45.
50.
Jordan Sherritt on 50.
Yuri and
Machotsi on 45. Then we go to Brett on 42, Yuri Swart on 40, and then out of that one, it would have been Adrian Wood who would have scored the most there. But of course, we're still going to play around with where Devin Leisha finished up. And unfortunately, our team doesn't give enough time to pull those results so we can try and work out the scores. Because we need to work out those scores, because at the end of the night, we have to find out who's going to be going through to the semi-finals. So hopefully we'll get a little bit extra time with the screen coming up. But how was that for a start, bud? Yo! Unbelievable.
I can't believe the action that we had in that first race here this evening, in those Audis, is just so spectacular. Well done to all of the drivers. I mean, just for keeping it together and just creating that excitement, you know. And there were battles, Greg, all over. I mean, Jordan Sherritt was in a class of his own. And you know, that sometimes can happen in any kind of racing. But the battles down for 4th and 5th, the battles down for 8th and 9th and 12th and 13th, the guys were on the limit all of the time. Magnificent driving, fabulous to watch.
Yeah, top class action, exactly what we expected, and we want to see more of the same now as we get into quarterfinal heat number 2. Quarterfinal 2, heat number 2. Now, there are 2 big players in this one. One is Leslie Oliphant, who took a victory last night, so he's already on 25 points. You can see him down there in the middle of that list. It's not the list that we're going to have in terms of qualifying. We'll wait and see how they've qualified now in this last half hour while we've been playing around with heat number 1. These guys were already in qualifying. And right below him, is Wesley Farrant. Now, Wesley Farrant got a 3rd place last night. Yes. So we've got 2 big contenders there. And then everybody else in this particular heat are not, and I say this with all respect and everything going the way of the drivers, they were not guys who were in the mix last night. So there's a very big open gap here for someone to shine. Should Oliphant and Farrant not?
Yeah, 100%, Greg. And you know what? As we say, it's all about the points as well. So these guys have got massive opportunities who might be sitting on 5 or 6 points. All of a sudden, you get a 3rd place or a 4th place. You're right in the mix, and you've got a great chance of getting into that top 60. So this is going to be an incredibly, I think, fast race. I have heard from a little bit earlier, Greg, that I think Stuart Mack has withdrawn from this evening's race. Unfortunately, got some technical difficulties. But for the rest of them, I mean, this is really open cards. Go for it as fast as you can. But they would have watched that first race, although they would have been out qualifying now. They will know the characteristics of this car, Greg. It's not as easy to handle, even with all of its fancy electronics. It's still a beast.
Yeah, it is. It's a beast of note, and that's exactly what they're going to be finding. And when they start to get into the mix and start to rub and get up close and personal, you know, here with Oliphant that we're watching down this little section, 7:15. Oh. So Brummer is about half a second off him, so probably also in the 7:15s there as Brummer pulls the sideline and aborts that lap. You'll see him hit Control-Alt-Delete and bang, back in pit lane. Unbelievable.
There we go.
You know, we
use
Harry Potter technology for... That's cool. Let's carry on.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, you look at a 7:15 up against a Brummer who was in a 7:11. So, I mean, sorry, not Brummer, up against Jordan Sherritt. But these are completely different races. So he's I think Oliphant will be very, very happy with that. He's sitting in pole position. He had a great race last night as well. He wants to just maximize and get as many points as possible. And the best way to do that is being out front with nobody, you're having to pass nobody and then hopefully nobody on your tail.
Well, that's exactly what Jordan Sherritt did. He just got away at the start. There was a bit of fracas behind, which got rid of Devon Leisha, probably one and arguably one of his sort of biggest rivals in that event, had he not had the problems he had. Leisha, unfortunately, as I said, I didn't quite get a chance to get a screenshot or a shot of the results, but I think he managed to get up into the top 10. If he did, he's going to be scoring 10 points, which should...
Yeah.
Okay, well, even if he finished 8, that's even better. It's going to give him 12 points to add to his 22, so that brings him into 34 points. So he's in the mix there. You've got to be scoring at least in the 30s and 40s to be considered and be eligible for going through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, Lyle Ramsey doing a practice start there. I mean, just listen to the sound of these magnificent Audi rally cars around the Nordschleife. Magnificent. Lyle Ramsey on an outlap. So they've only got about 5 or 6 minutes left of qualifying, Greg. So they're going to have to really pedal it in order to try and post a time. I mean, those are the only top 2 times registered that we have so far.
Now, Lyle Ramsey, of course, a front-wheel drive specialist, so all-wheel drive will be completely new to him. But needless to say, he's still putting in some good times and looking for a chance now to be in the mix by the time we get to the end of this evening. He finished last night on 9 points, so he's certainly got to get at least into double figures here to have a shot of furthering his Solidarity E-Race version 3 here at Seagate Gaming's version. So I think we're going to see a little bit of fun and games here with that mid-pack. And as I said in this one, Sash, you've got a whole bunch of guys in this particular heat that are there or thereabouts and weren't in the mixes at all last night. They all had their own little dices, but they weren't in the top 5 at all. So top 5 finishes is what we were looking for to be sort of opportunistic drivers. All right, so there's the race 1 result there. Sherritt from Ampi from Machoti Brett. I don't know where Sash has gone, but he's not having a little chat there on the side. Hi, Sash.
Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me.
I know what it is. Sash is getting into that G-Force sim rig again.
I'm back.
Oh, Montenegro, what am I going to do with you? Huh? What am I going to do?
Oh, there we go. I tell you, what a night.
So it's Henry, Janssen van Rensburg, Leisha is in 8th, yeah. So Devon Leisha finishes in 8th place, so we'll just keep an eye on that one. That's one to watch out for. I'm just looking at anybody else there. Henry, where did Henry finish up there? He finishes up in 6th place. That's good for him. Just going through the guys that are sort of in the mix here. Zander Roots, that's definitely a good one for him in 9th. And then Daniel Rowe, well, he was out of it last night. He only finished with 8 points, but he gets a 10. So he gets 10 for that. He gets 18. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
And then it's Tian Farid, Lindsay, Teens, Glashagen, Halkiet, Tion Damas. Well, he didn't live up to his nickname from Bloemfontein, the Lewis Hamilton from Bloemfontein, down in 16th place, and Swicha with some problems. So I don't know if Valdo Swicha, he's actually put up a comment on the group. I'm going to shoot to it quickly just to mention it because it was quite a good one that he put out there. He just put there, not a race I ever want to do again. That stupid Audi and me don't gel.
You know, that's what I love about this as well. At least people are just being so honest and frank about it, sitting there going, man, this is really a handful. It's not really what I'm used to racing, Greg. But they still are going out there and having fun and being, very chirpy about it, which is wonderful to see. There's some good camaraderie on the Discord channel as opposed to when they're actually on the circuit.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And of course, there's various channels that they can comment on. We've got the Discord channel, which is the sort of holding channel for all of the servers that we play with. And then there's also a WhatsApp group that's backfiring all the time, backwards and forwards. And these guys are just having a full go at each other and having comments non-stop. It's great.
Oh, it is wonderful stuff. I was going through the points tally as well. I think those guys who are sitting from last night in the, with round about 20 points, maybe up to about 15, Greg, looking okay as long as they can have a relatively decent run this evening. Those who are sort of below that, 14 down, 12, 10 points or whatever, those are the guys that really have to push hard for this evening.
Yeah, those are the guys that are going to have to put in the extra effort now. And of course, this is it. Tonight is all about getting into that top 60. If you're not in the top 60 by the end of tonight, then unfortunately you're out of this competition. There are 2 more opportunities tomorrow with the 6 semi-finals. And the 6 semi-finals will give the drivers in the top 60 2 chances to go at it once again for points again. So it's literally in the Porsche and in the Zonda tomorrow night, and separate points to be scored there. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
Yeah, and of course, two totally different vehicles that they're going to be driving with tomorrow as well. We're on with Dewald Brimmer. He's currently sitting in second position. You know, oh my word. There, that's what you call a proper understeer into the barriers over there. That four-wheel drive system didn't help Dewald Brimmer at all. But even with these times, Greg, you know, even if you're 6 seconds behind Olifant at this stage, when it comes to the actual race itself, if you could just sit there and follow his lines, you know, you might be able to create an upset.
That's exactly what I was saying. The guys that are involved in this heat can create an upset. And if there's a problem with Olifant or there's a problem with Wesley Ferrand, possibly for, I'm just looking at the other names there, those are the two that we need to worry about. Maybe Nicolaisen as well. He's also got a chance of coming through there because he was in the mix last night in a nice little battle. But if you look at the way things have gone in this particular heat number 2 of this quarterfinal 2, there is ample opportunity here for people that weren't in the mix at all last night to suddenly become big players and move through to semi-finals.
Yeah, we're on board with Henry Roux. Oh, there we go, taking a little bit of the grass as well. Not exactly the right line, going very tight. They're going to miss the apex, but actually handles it extremely well. And Henry Roux in this final as well, or in this quarterfinal, will definitely be looking to score some major points. Everyone fighting for a place in the top 60 to get into our semi-finals for tomorrow night.
And that's the plan. And then from there we move on to, of course, the big ones on Sunday night. The grand final and the plate final, as well as the final for our commentator search. Now remember, Sash, we've got, I said there were only 4 competitors that have entered for that commentator search. We heard Kyle Lawrence a bit earlier on. We did try and get the other videos loaded up, but unfortunately didn't have enough time to get them out. But Craig Ecote has entered. Niels Kemp has entered. George Smith has entered. And remember, lastminute.com, and what he didn't do with the last entry is he didn't give the ability to share his post. So Michael Elliott, well done, bud. We eventually got your post that you took off the non-shareability on your post. We have to be able to share it. We have to be able to get people to share it. And we have to be able to get people to engage on it, Mark. So he's our 5th competitor to enter the commentator search.
Yeah, listen, that's terrific. And, you know, if you're still interested in doing it, you've got time to do it. So go and read up on exactly what is required of you. It's on all of the eSolidarity race pages, Facebook pages, on the Instagram, the Twitter, and, of course, on the Facebook and the web page. And then, you know what, just get involved and send it through. You never know. You could be the next big motorsport commentator star, whether it be online or live track action. It could be for you guys, you know, and it could be something that you'll love. Imagine traveling to all of the circuits, Greg, meeting all the drivers, getting involved, learning a little bit more about them. You know, it's really cool fun.
It certainly is. I mean, you've made it on radio mainly, but you've also been part and parcel of a whole bunch of events that I've been involved in. My main form of income for the last 23 years has come out of motorsport commentary. So it's certainly something that you can make a career out of. And that's why we've gone with this option. There are a lot of calls from various people saying, how do we get involved? We're not great sim racers. We're not great drivers. But of course, in all forms of motorsport, you don't necessarily have to be the great driver and the great sim racer. There are other aspects to the sport that you can get involved in. And we've got Jason Holden-Jones and Neil Marks behind the scenes. We've got our technical team behind the scenes as well. We've got EFX bringing us to production, so there's a production aspect to it. There's voiceover work. There's advertising that goes through it. There's PR. There's, you name it. I mean, the world around motorsport is so big, and there's so many opportunities. We've given you one with this, of course, commentator search.
Yeah, so you know what, try and make the most of it, get involved. As I say, go and find out exactly what you have to do. It's very self-explanatory. And, you know, submit your entry. We'd love to hear it. And you never know, you could be joining us over the course of the weekend as well. We're lining up, Greg.
We are indeed. Remember, those entries are going to be in by 12 o'clock tomorrow. 12 o'clock tomorrow, we'll be going through Sasha, myself, and the other part of our judging panel, who will remain anonymous for now. But all of that judging panel will then make a final call as to who's going to join us tomorrow night, because tomorrow night, the commentators will actually join us for the semi-finals. 1 per semi-final. They'll each get a chance to join you and I and have a go. And, of course, the voting then comes from the people that are going to be watching over tomorrow night, as well as a bit of input from our organisers to see who's going to be the winner of that. And then that person will join you and I for a full race on Sunday night for the plate final.
Yeah, I think it's exciting stuff. We'd love to have you along for the ride, and of course just for the fun, because it's really, really exciting, and especially when you get, to your finals as well, where the field is incredibly close together. There's a lot of action that you've got to keep your eyes peeled for.
All right, standing by now as they head down into the first spot. This is all double wave yellows. No overtaking just yet. They've got to literally stay either line astern or side by side. You can see they put them line astern tonight as opposed to side by side like last night. And literally, it's a control. It's under race control right now until they get the go, go, go signal in their ears. I saw also on the group a couple of guys having a go back and forth saying some of the drivers went before they heard the go, and that's what caused the big crash. So that's not for us to decide. That, of course, is for our COC and stewards to decide, and they will have to sort out any of that kind of action, Sash.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, we don't have to get involved with that, but we need to go in our quarterfinal number, and I think we're just about at lights, green. Let's have a listen. Olifant in the front.
There it is.
Yep. And there we go. We go green.
We certainly do. Olifant getting away there. Brummer going to go with him, and on his tail, Wesley Ferrand. So Ferrand right in there. Darren Peen's looking for a chance to stay with him. Alton Bow. Then it's Byron Mitchell. And Byron Mitchell looking for a way to close down now. Ramsey behind him. Nicolaisen. Oh, running a little bit wide there. I think that might have been Mitchell. Mitchell running a little bit too wide there for my liking and may have lost a little bit of ground. I think he's dropped down a little bit there. And let's have a look and see if it was him. No, it wasn't. It's actually Nicolaisen, I think, who ran down a little bit wide. So some chopping and changing as they get onto the grass. You don't want to get on the grass. Stay on the track limitations here. Stay on the black stuff if you can, or the grey stuff that you can see on your screens. We love all this action. We're certainly loving the fact that we got over 107 people watching us right now. Last night we got up, I think, to about 250 people watching at one point. So the interaction that's happening via our social media for the Seagate Gaming Solidarity E-Race is phenomenal.
Well, I tell you, Greg, in the qualifying there was a 6-second gap between Olifant and Brummer, but look at this. Brummer all over Olifant. He dropped a little bit of time there, 6/10, but it was down to about a 10. Wesley Ferrand dropping back a little bit. But look at that, first all the way up until 10th place. Nicolaisen has just gone past Engler, but I think Ramsey's gone off and has fallen all the way down. While Ramsey's gone all the way down, Duggan has also gone down as well. But I tell you, watch at the front, only 3/10 between Olifant and Dierwald Brummer.
I think Duggan and Ramsey came together there. Ramsey was able to get back on track relatively quickly, but Duggan certainly took a little bit more time and has dropped back almost 3.5 seconds off the back. He spun out coming out of the carousel there, and I think that's what Lyle Ramsey had to try and avoid. But there's some fun and games happening all the way through here. Olifant though pulling away, but Brummer is right there with him. Look at Dierwald Brummer. Absolutely perfection here. This is a man, of course, who spends most of his time in a front-wheel drive golf. He's also done some polo driving. He was involved in NX Legends at one stage, and even in single-seaters and in 250cc Grand Prix karts. So Dierwald Brummer, certainly no slouch when it comes to any form of motorsport, and he's certainly looking like he's getting to grips with the esports side of motorsport as well.
Well, I tell you, it is the hunter and the hunted between these two at the moment in the front. Brummer just watching everything that Olifant's doing, making sure he gets his brake markers in the right place, getting closer. They're coming down a long straight. Don't think he's in striking distance at the moment, Greg, but I tell you, Dierwald Brummer looks very, very racy. He's going to try something. No, he's going to look on the inside. Olifant running a little bit wide. This also bringing Wesley Ferrand back into the mix as well, because it's slowing Olifant slowing Brummer down, which is then allowing Ferrand to get a little bit closer as well. So spectacular racing right at the front of this quarterfinal 2 in the E-Solidarity race around the Nordschleifer.
Yeah, and you can tell right now Leslie Olifant's having to work double time to keep out Brummer. Brummer will be looking to move up here. Remember, Brummer only finished up on 15 points last night, so that would mean that he finished in 6th place in his heat. Right now, sitting in 2nd, it's certainly going to move him up the field rapidly. The other factor, of course, is if Olifant takes the victory as he runs wide. Oh, Olifant ran a little bit wide. Unbelievable stuff there from Olifant, but he managed to hang on to it only just. Olifant ran wide big time as they came through that section. There you can see he just managed to hang on, but Brummer's now got a bit of a smell of the blood in the water there, and I think it may have a bit of Olifant taste to it. They go into carousel now. This is Olifant on board with him, looking at the man as he comes out there very, very smooth. Back onto the steering wheel and pushing hard. You can see he's having to work double time now. It's only half a second between him and Brummer. But I was about to say, Olifant scoring a win here would give him maximum points as well and put him tie top with Jordan Sherritt.
Yeah, I tell you, it's all to play for over here, but Olifant would really like it if he had a race like Jordan Sherritt with somebody behind him. Brummer closer than he's been, that's for sure. Wesley Ferrand's pace has gone off the boil, unfortunately. He's 4 seconds down the road now. But Diemar Brummer on a real hunt to get past Leslie Olifant. Great driving by both of these guys. I mean, you really have to have your concentration, Greg. The one's looking in their rearview mirrors, the other one's looking, well, if the guy makes a mistake, I better not follow his mistake and make sure that I keep my line.
Yeah, that's what happened last night, Sash. If you remember, a lot of the crashes that happened last night were due to the fact that they were given a bit of target fixation. You see the guy in front of you, you're watching him all the time, and Ramsey now closing onto the back end of Klein Jakes. So Klein Jakes and Ramsey going at it. This is on board with Lyle Ramsey a bit further back in the pack now, trying to get back into the top 10 if he can. He has to get back in the top 10, otherwise he may be losing a chance to go through into the semi-finals.
Oh, he's definitely got the speed of on Klein Jakes in front of him, so it's just a matter of time for him to get past. But the sooner he can get past, then at least maybe he can have a chance of chasing Leach. Whoa, right in the curve, goes off the track there. Not, commentator's curse, but manages to get it back onto the circuit. Control yourself now and get back into that rhythm and see if you can pass Klein Jakes. Man, he's quick through that corner. Let's see what he... Oh, yes! Oh, he runs a little bit wide. Jakes runs a little bit wide. Can Ramsey do anything about it?
Well, Ramsey will certainly know what to do in a situation like this. He's been involved in it on numerous occasions in the Volkswagen Challenge class that he races in. And having been in the mix with maybe 3 or 4 other cars... Oh, what a shame, though! Oh, he put himself in the commentator's curse again. Once from Sasha, once from me. And Ramsey now he's back in it. Has he lost any positions? Is Ullman coming along? I think we may have a chance here for Ullman to squeeze through. No, just misses out. It's too far back. So now it's up to Ramsey to try and get back into the rhythm. Because now with that rhythm lost, there's a chance he's not going to make the top 10.
Well, he lost 10 seconds of that. And Brummer all of a sudden has lost a little bit of time. Olifant's either up the gas or Brummer may have made a mistake a little bit earlier in the lap, but he's 2 seconds behind. And Wesley Ferrand a further 5 seconds down the road. So Olifant will be breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief at the moment as we're on board with Elton Bow, who is chasing down Mitchell onto the rev limiter as well. Can't go any faster, my friend. Sorry.
How awesome is that? Can you imagine what that must feel like? If that was a real race car, Stash, on that limiter for that amount of time, you know that car's not going to be able to take it. Audi make phenomenal engines, but to rev it on the limiter like that for probably, 10, 12 seconds, maybe even longer, it's going to certainly have an effect. And it may even come into play here. There's no doubt about it. You cannot run a race car and full rev limiter for that long at full flight and not have an engine problem.
Well, I would have assumed something like that, Greg, but maybe in the world of sim racing they allow for these things. But I can tell you, if that was me with that rev limiter, that engine would have gone poof.
Right, it's Bo on Mitchell, trying to close down on Darren Peens as well. Peens looking for a top 5 here. That'll be one of his best finishes in the Solidarity races that he's participated in so far. They come through the little S-bend there, an incredible little part of the circuit there, coming out into that S-bend, and of course now heading up towards, this is where the start line is actually. We've just crossed that start line right now. That 3K to go board on the left-hand side through the trees is where the race actually physically starts. And now pushing hard to try and close things down. It is Byron Mitchell. He can see just up the road there, Darren Peens. But look in the rearview mirror. Look at that. I mean, Mitchell is in a big sandwich here. Peens is the front end, the back end is Bo, and the meat of the sandwich is Byron Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, this is just terrific racing. I mean, this is for 4th place. Pierce, Mitchell, Bo. Here we go. We're on board with Mitchell looking back at Bo. Bo looking for everywhere. Not an easy car to overtake. He's got to force a mistake. Looking for the outside there. That is the widest Audi you've ever seen from Mitchell. Locks up the brakes a little bit as well as Bo is really... Oh, Bo runs a little bit wide as well, but holds on to him. They are chasing... Oh, it's just fantastic racing. Lost a little bit of time there, but Mitchell now putting the pressure on Pierce as well.
Bo is giving it everything he can now. He's literally got that bow loaded and trying to strike the target in front of him. But also just picking up from our technical team there, Neil Marks has just sent me a message saying, listen guys, by the way, the engine will definitely take damage in AC, especially if they're running full boost. So if they're running full boost, those engines are going to start taking strain. We go back a bit further here into James Leach's car for the first time as he starts to close down on the back end of Ian Upton. So Ian Upton had double duties to do last night. Remember, we saw him in the Alpha. He then left the server, went on to another server, and did some e-sport racing for the category that he races for in real life as well, the NX Legends.
Yeah, I tell you, if he runs full boost, he's got to get past Jay Leach. He really is. He's looking everywhere. And, well, I got to say, Upton is putting that car left and right all over the circuit. Another guy to watch against is Lyle Ramsey. He's coming up to the bit of Klein Jakes as well. But can James Leach do anything about Ian Upton in front of him as they go down the hill? Of course, there are some big elevation changes around the Nordschleife into a very, very sharp hairpin. He's got a chance here. Oh, not close enough. Hard on the brakes there.
Look at how tight it is though coming down the hill. This is where things change up ever so slightly. The undulation and of course the off-camber corners come into play here as well. There's a few off-camber sections that these guys will have to deal with. The all-wheel drive will work, the Quattro system will work, but it's to try and find the gap. And there's not a lot of gap to play with, as you can see. Shutting the door there, slamming the door shut. No way is he coming past me.
Well, I tell you, I think there'll be a couple of words with the clock of the course after this about moving off the line, that's for sure. Another one to watch here, Ramsey's on the back of Klein Jakes again as well, and Dewald Brummer has made up 2.3 seconds on Leslie Oliphant at the front of the field as well. So action aplenty all over in this quarterfinal too.
Yeah, and about to become all over as well. We're on the final lap here, Sash, so there's literally nothing to play for. Brummer's got to put in an epic run here. He's lost a little bit of ground in the last section, trying to close down on Oliphant. There's the battle we're looking at. Oliphant leading things out. Just behind him, the lime green and black Audi, as opposed to the sort of olive green and black Audi we're seeing here of Oliphant. But absolutely nothing in it between these two. The lap times are almost identical, but it's just the case of hanging on to that small margin he was able to make, as Brummer made one small mistake in the middle of the race.
Well, I tell you, Alton Bowes made some kind of mistake somewhere, and Mitchell's got ahead of Ferrand into third place. So, yeah, big mistake. Duggan's got ahead of Roux as well. Ramsey lost a bit of time, but he's now back onto the back of Klein Jakes. So we're on board with Wesley Ferrand. He's just got past. Oh, wow! There we go. Wesley Ferrand and Mitchell in front of him. So he's lost a place and he's making some mistakes. Who's now got a chance?
Now, Bo and Peens are coming, and if they get close enough, there's a possibility, as we saw last night, on the long straight here, Sash, there's a very good possibility of some slipstream effect coming into play. The battle for third year raging between four cars. Mitchell in the orange car just up front, Ferrand is in the white car, then behind them, Bo in the purple machine, and behind that, Darren Peens. This is so tight between these guys. It's brilliant. Didn't expect it to be so close.
Yeah, fantastic racing yet again as we look here, and it looks like I'm just trying to see what's happening with Klein Jakes and Ramsey. No, I think he passed him and then he got passed back again. So that's not happening. Dewald Brummer sitting in second place, lost a bit of time again, but he's pretty comfortable. He's not going to make any mistakes. Here's Ramsey and Jakes. Here's Lyle Ramsey right on the back of Klein Jakes. And he's got Duggan right behind him and Roux behind him as well. So, woo! This is a fight for 11th place.
11, 12, 13 and 14th place all up for grabs here. Ramsey in the mix, looking straight back into the clutches. Ramsey's got it sideways. 360, 720, going for the 900. What is he named? Lyle Tony Hawk Ramsey. Come on, man. Jeez. That's not the way to do it, Lyle Ramsey. But he managed to get it all right. He's back on track, but he's lost oodles of amounts of ground there. He's not going to be able to come back from that one. But the battle continues here. Alton Bow under pressure. Ferrand just up ahead of them, but the pressure's coming from Peens. Peens looking for a way through. Can't quite get them just yet, but he's letting go now.
He should really be able to get on the inside. I tell you, they're both going there side by side. And I tell you, Bo runs wide. Peens gets through. Fantastic drive there from Peens to get through, and a much needed point. That's for sure.
Coming through
Mitchell.
the swallowtail there, the little carousel, Sash, as well. Using the banking of that corner, it helped him out. The man on the outside had nowhere to go. Unfortunately, Elton Bow lost out because he wasn't in the slot that get the availability of as they go through that baby carousel.
I'll tell you, Wesley Ferrant is fighting back on Mitchell, that's for sure. And I mean, this is critical because this race is just about to end. He's on the limiter. He's maybe at full boost. Don't blow the engine. That's the one thing you don't want to do, Wesley. But wow, who's gonna be late on the brakes coming into the corner? Look at the two of them playing together. Brilliant racing.
Here they come. Up into the S's. Uli fights across the line. Brothers in second. Mitchell probably going to take third place. The battle for fourth is up for grabs here. Is it going to be Ferrant or is it going to be Pete? Pete's looking for a way through. Ferrant looking for a way through. Oh, it's so close. Ferrant on Mitchell. And Mitchell's going to hang on. Byron Mitchell, one of our youngest competitors, is going to come across the line and beat out Wesley Ferrant. But it's not over yet. He's run wide. Oh, man, it's close. That is so close. That is brilliant stuff, Stash.
Unbelievable racing, and I mean, all the way down. What an incredible race. Lyle Ramsey, one of the most eventful. There is Ramsey. He's trying to now get past through in the final stages of this race. He has had one of the most eventful drives I've seen in some racing ever. Look at these guys, side to side. They still got a chance to finish. Can Ramsey get past through? Ramsey goes wide again. He's off the track. Oh,
this is mental. He's had about 10 crashes on this last lap, Sash. Lyle Ramsey, listen, bud, the idea is to stay between the white lines, bro. You know that. You're a racing driver, not drive on the grass. Oh, that's magic. Loving this action, Sash de Montenegro. This is what it's all about. This is what everybody's come to watch tonight.
Oh, Greg, that was just epic. I mean, the way he went rally crossing there to try and get back in route, just brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant stuff there. So Leslie Oliphant will end up at the top, as you can see. Deelwold Brummer in second place. So Oliphant finishes up on 50 points, along with race one winner Jordan Sherritt. So there are our top two so far in this one. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Then if we go a little bit further down, I'm trying to get those results in place. I'm looking at the results right now. Byron Mitchell is going to move up dramatically. He finished in 12 points last night, which of course is 8th place overall. With the 20 points he scores now, that is brilliant stuff. That's 28 points there for the youngster. So Byron Mitchell has certainly moved himself up into potentially contention for moving forward in this competition. The other big one, of course, there, just as I wanted to see the last one, one more time. Just going to go down through. Ferrant, no worries. Wesley Ferrant, yeah, he's in 4th. He gets up to 38 points. So that's going to put him at the moment, Sash, it'll be it'll probably put him to 6th place overall at this point in time. Of course, we're going to get confirmation of the results later on. We're just trying to work it out for ourselves as we go through each of these quarterfinal 2 heats. And we're now moving into quarterfinal 2 heat number 3.
Well, I tell you, Greg, you couldn't ask for more kind of fun and action than what we've had in these first 2 heats. That was just epic. You know, and you've got to look at the whole field. That's what's so great about it. You can't just sit there and go, well, let's look at the front 2 guys. You've got to look at the whole field. And there was just some brilliant driving. And you've got to say, I mean, Lyle Ramsey made it so difficult for himself. But on the other side, you really got to take your hat off to who was it, Jakes, who
Glenn Jakes had a phenomenal
just keep Ramsey behind him, didn't make any mistakes, and forced everybody else to make the mistakes. But that was epic racing. Loved every second.
We certainly want more of that. And if we look at what's coming up next, Sash, we're going to have some more of that. There's no doubt. It's another scenario of where we've got 2 drivers that finished up really nicely last night. You've got Charles Wilkin, who finished in 3rd. You've got Rob Whiting, who finished in 2nd. And then you've got Jason Absmeyer and Chris Heinecker, who didn't really have the night that they wanted. So those are the 4 contenders we can play with. We would have had Bashir Jadwat in there as well. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it tonight. But then the rest of that pack are in a similar vein to what we've just seen in this last heat, where there's an opportunity for someone to shine again.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you just look at that second heat there, Greg, you know, the guys know that they need to get the points. And those 4 names that you've just mentioned that are going into qualifying 3 now know that they have to go out and get as many points as possible. Number one, to make it into that top 60, and then also not to land up in a semi-final heat where all of a sudden they're up against some serious players. They don't want to meet them too early when it comes to the semis.
Yeah, we're going to be in for a bit of, as I said, a race of about 4 or 5 drivers here, and the rest of them trying to make their mark and ensure that they get enough points in the bag to move through to tomorrow night's semi-finals. We're going into quarterfinal 4 at the end. We'll get into that one in a few minutes' time, but that, of course, is going to be the quarterfinal of death, I would say, because when I show you who's involved in that one later on, you're going to realize the players that are going to be playing around, and we may have kept the best until last. I'm not going to say that it's the best until last just yet, because right now we've had 2 phenomenal heats of racing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just been terrific racing. You know, I think also driving in these Audis sort of lends itself to that sort of craziness. The cars look like they want to go racing, and the guys are pushing them to the limits. It's also great that Neil came and told us, Greg, that, you know, running those cars at the limits with the turbos will affect the engine. So, you know, it's not as though you can just go, flat out all the way through. You can have some issues as well with the mechanics of the car as well. So the guys have to be mindful of that.
And that's what we mentioned the entire time through all of the Solidarity E races we've done so far at Kyle Army, at the Intercontinental Challenge, and now here at the Nordschleife. People don't realize that the game is so realistic that all of those factors that would normally be taken into account for a real race car have to be taken into account here as well in the sim world. And in e-racing, engine wear, tire wear, fuel, the setup of the car. Okay, we are working on fixed setup for these cars for this event, but normally they would play around with the ability for the drivers to go and set up their own cars the way they like them, as opposed to the fixed setup that they've been given by our technical team in the background.
Yeah, I think we had Jason Absmeyer out on track there. Greg, here's a driver who really has to come out and perform tonight.
He certainly has. You know, at every single event, he's unfortunately been caught with problems and issues and bits and pieces going wrong. It was all hardware related at the last one and at Kyle Army. He got new systems put in place. He's got a brand new steering wheel and pedal set sent to him as well by his sponsors. He's all ready to go. And then last night, for whatever reason, he just crashed out and never returned. So he has got some huge mountains to climb, because if I look at where Absmeyer ended up, he's on 3 points. And that means he finished up in 18th place overall. And he now has to at least get a win or into the top 5 to be in contention.
Yeah, he really has to pull out something. Just looking at the sort of qualifying times that we've got on the screen at the moment, 7:23, way off the pace, Greg. But that's not really a reflection of what we can expect in the actual race itself. But one has to be mindful. I mean, that's a full 12 seconds slower than what Jordan Sherritt managed to do in the same car 2 heats ago.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that the lap times that they're putting in are not even close to the times that Jordan Sherritt were able to get out of this car. And no one else has actually really come close to those times just yet. There you can see quarterfinal 3, heat number 3, quarterfinal 2, heat number 3, I should say. Charles Wilkin will also be a big factor in this one. He finished third place last night, and of course has spent time in off-road as well as rally and circuit racing, and now in the sim world is becoming a big factor to play with. Just interesting to see as we look at Jason Absmeyer on track, where we saw him earlier on. Yuri Absmeyer sending in a comment via the Solidarity E-Race page saying, "This is like watching 5-year-olds at the mall." I like that comment.
There we go.
It's like the bumper cars and 5-year-olds. Yeah, the 5-year-olds at the mall in the bumper cars, just tagging each other, bashing into each other. Brilliant stuff. Anyway, I'm just waiting for our guys to send us as well who's who in the zoo there, because there are a couple of guys that we just need numbers on as well. And if Neil can hear me, he can just pass me the numbers on there. But yet again, it's Wilkin, Versace, Geldenhuis, Absmeyer, Whiting. He's a man to watch out for. Heineke, Christie, Mitchell Larson in there as well. Wesley Delport, Greg Van Niekerk, Eli Vergara. He finished 5th overall last night, so watch out for him. Richard Clark, Marius Brits. Bashir Jadwat is not there, but we do have Davide Favo, Han Solo, Andries Lombard, Sas van der Westhuizen, and Adrian de Beer.
Yeah, there we go. We're on board with Arno Fasaki, but I was just checking the split on Absmeyer, and he looked like he was the quickest. So if he can put in a proper lap here, he might even start from pole position. So we've only got a couple of minutes left of this qualifying session. I do expect that time board to change a little bit. There is Absmeyer currently in, sitting in 1. Oh, he looked at it though, he got his steering wheel a little bit cross-eyed there. But let's see what Absmeyer manages to put in, because as far as I can see on the Delta, he seems to be quite a lot ahead of, I don't know who that is, Mitchlicken.
It's Mitchell Larson.
Mitchell Larson. There we go.
Yeah, okay. Mitchie the Kid, I think we'd call him, because he's also a youngster coming out of karting. But Mitchell Larson also looking for a chance now to shine. Remember, we have got that big prize available in Motorsports Academy in 2021. So that's what. And junior driver, of course, is from the age of 14 to 24 that would be eligible for a chance to win that prize from Volkswagen Motorsport.
Man, what it must be like to be 14 years old again, playing in sim racing like this. Wow. I think in a way I would like that.
Just take into account as well, Sash, we're driving with this Evolution 2 Audi tonight. There are 2 of these down at the Volkswagen Motorsport factory in Uitenhage in PE. And I went to go and collect a couple of things when I was down there for one of the Uitenhage Polo Cup races. And when I went to collect, they actually gave me I think it was an Amarok to use for the weekend. When I got there, I got a little tour from Mike Rowe, and he took me into the back where they've got all these hidden gems. Man alive, we pull the cover off this thing, and you see this beast under that cover. And you know that there's been either Jeff Mortimer or possibly Sarah van der Merwe behind the wheel of that in full flight at some point in their careers in rallying. And you know the kind of heritage that's been behind that too. It's great to have a brand like them involved with our competition. And of course, using their sister brand here at the Nordschleife, the home of Volkswagen.
Oh, without a doubt. And I mean, listen, just Volkswagen as a brand within South Africa, of how iconic it is, it just is wonderful. And it's so important to have a brand like VW involved in our motorsport. Wow. So grateful to them being there. Rob Whiting's gone fastest. He's at a 7:16. So he's 7 seconds ahead of Mitchell Larson. And now we're watching Absmeyer, because Absmeyer seems to be a bit up as well. But he's still got about 3 minutes of this track to maneuver. So he's really, really looking very, very solid. But a great lap from Rob Whiting.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to make it, though. There's only about 16 seconds of qualifying left, so he's not going to get to the finish line before that. So you may have to abort this lap, Sash. Other interesting factor, of course, is the second fastest lap ever done around the Nordschleife also comes from a Volkswagen product. The Volkswagen ID Racer, their electric car, did a 6:05.336 around this track. That is some going.
Yeah. And unbelievable. I remember they had that car at, I think it was the Festival of Speed last year at Kyalami. Yes. I mean, it just is magnificent to look at, just looking at where the technology is. And I mean, that's a full electric car.
It certainly is. Here we go quickly for the lineup. And of course, Sash now looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here for heat number 3. As I said, Charles Wilkin will be a big contender. So will Rob Whiting. But Absmeyer, Heineke, and look out for a possibility from Mitchell Larson, as we've just seen him now at the front end. Let's have a look and see as they line up. The numbers have been sent to me, so to run through the numbers quickly, if I can just pull them up on my phone. Numbers in this heat. Number 1, Sas van der Westhuizen. Jason Absmeyer is 2. Dalport is 3. Versaki is 4. Clark is 5. De Beer is 6. 7 is Whiting. 8 is Marius Brits. 9 is Mitchell Larson. It's Andries Lombard in 10. Eli Vergara from East London there in 11th. From Davide Favo in 12. We've got Chris Heineke in 13. That might be lucky for him. Hans Solo in 14. We've got Peter Geldenhuys 15. Charles Wilkin is in 16. And then it's, I think we've got Klein Jakes in again. I'm not quite sure if Klein Jakes has got into 2 heats here, but he's up on the board here. I don't think that's right. That might be a typo, but we'll wait and see. It might be Adrian De Beer that I think we're looking for in this one, but let's have a wait as they get going now and roll off. Safety cars on the sideline waiting to go in case of any emergencies that we need to pull out for a safety car. Hopefully not the case. We've seen some great action. It hasn't been anything held back, though, Sash, so far, as these guys are trying to sort themselves out. Remember, they've got a... Oh, we've got a spinner!
These guys are crashing all over the place.
Circuit. We haven't even gone to race yet. We haven't got the green light, and he's crashed out. I'm not quite sure. I think it might have been Charles Wilkin. He's not in his customary Hulk colours. And it's Wilkin. He's had to reset and gone back into pit lane. Charles Wilkin has to now come from about 2 Ks back in 2 laps to try and get back into the front and try and finish up in 3rd place like he did last night, or at least in the top 10.
Yeah, this is a massive blow for Charles Wilkin. Don't know what happened, but we saw the youngster going off the track as well. So I don't know if they tapped each other or touched each other. But we're going racing now, and we're on board with Chris Heineke at sitting in 3rd position at the moment. Mitchell Lyson in 2nd place. Rob Whiting in the front. Jason Absmeyer down in 8th position. And now we're on Robert Whiting. Yeah, having a look. Well, getting past, actually. Oh, what a bounce! Here we go.
Tapping
That's
there.
how you do it, Mitchell
Little
Lyson.
rubbings racing there. A little rubbings racing, I think, Sash. Mitchell Lyson trying to force his way through there, Rob Whiting, and then Rob Whiting said, no, I'm going to keep this one. And Mitchell Lyson says, no, you're not. I'm taking this one away from you. So Lyson leads out. In 2nd place, it's Whiting. Heineke in 3rd. Fasaki is 4. Eli Vergara back into his customary 5th place with Absmeyer on his tail trying to close him down and look for a way past. That's going to be something to watch out for. Eli Vergara, that's the man who's looking to come on board as one of our sponsors for the next event in 5th place. And he's got Jason Absmeyer all over the back of him. This is Arno Fasaki's point of view, closing on Heineke. Heineke just opening up a little bit of a margin there for 3 and 4. 3rd place is Heineke, but Fasaki, he's got Eli Vergara right on his tail as they're going to the S-Bend.
Yeah, terrific driving from all. Oh, there we go. Is that Absmeyer gone off again?
Oh, it is? No, it's Lombard. It's Lombard and De Beer. Lombard and De Beer crashing out there. Absmeyer stayed on. It was just behind them. So Lombard's got back on track. So has De Beer, but they've dropped back dramatically there. 12th and 14th place respectively, Sash.
Yeah, a huge mistake from the guys there. Absmeyer's got past Vergara. He's now going to chase Fasaki. He's 3 seconds down the road. And Whiting not being able to do much about Mitchell Lyson up in the front there as well. We're on board with Arno Fasaki. He's just on the tail of Chris Heineke. And Absmeyer is the man who's going to be chasing these two down. If I must say, Greg, if Absmeyer can keep it together, Absmeyer could really finish in most probably 3rd place this evening.
It'd be amazing to see Arno Fasaki finish up where he is right now, because last night he could only get a 10th spot in his heat. So 10th place with the points that he scored, because it's not 10th place in his heat, it's the points that he scored last night, will bring him up into that 10th spot. So unbelievable stuff there from Arno Fasaki, all of a sudden becoming a big factor, and that's exactly what we said might happen here. This is Rob Whiting closing down on Lyson. Mitchell Lyson just up ahead of him, and Mitchie the Kid now looking for a chance to possibly spoil the day for everybody. We kind of expected him to be in the mix. I did say he might be a factor after his qualifying. Now that he's got to grips with his car, trying to get away from the front end. How far up is Wilkin? Wilkin has only got to 15th at this point as well, Sash, watching for his progress from the pit lane.
Yep, and Charles Wilkin 3 seconds to catch Brits. But I tell you, Mitchell Lyson ran a little bit wide. Now we're on board with Geldenace, who's chasing down Clark. And I tell you, Eli Vergara made a big mistake somewhere because he's dropped about 5 positions. There we go, Geldenace has run wide. And it's just Clark has run wide. Geldenace has got through. Man, it's so easy to make a mistake and allow your competitor to get through. So Clark is really going to have to try his best to get up there. Vergara seems to have all sorts of problems. Lost another position to De Beer. And we're on board with Peter Geldenace. He's got about 4 seconds to catch in front of him.
As he runs wide, Geldenace right on cue. Thanks for that one. So Jason Absmeyer is up to 5th. He's now closing in on Arno Fasaki. We're on board with Jason Absmeyer now. There's Fasaki just up the road, and ahead of him, it's Heineke. So there's a possibility of Jason Absmeyer squeezing through and even getting into a top 3. That would be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. As you can see, these guys are going absolutely flat out right now to try and find a way to close those gaps down. Mitchell Lyson and Whiting, only half a second between them. And Sass, there's only half a second between 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is so tight at the top there. Whiting's got to hold on to Mitchell Lyson. But then Heineke, he's going to get under serious pressure from Fasaki, and we've got Absmeyer as well. We're going on board now with Delport. Oh, look at this, sideways move there from Favo, and it looks like Delport should have the long shot on him. Favo, oh, I tell you, very early on the brakes there. That might have caught him a little bit by surprise. But Davide Favo under a lot of pressure from Delport. Favo will be very happy up in 6th place, but it's not a customary position for him, Greg. So it's going to take all of his ability to keep Delport behind him, and it's not going to happen.
License out of shape there. Rob Whiting for a chance for the lead. Can he get through? No, Mitchell Larson just keeping that Seagate green machine ahead of him. Brilliant stuff there from Mitchell Larson as he keeps out Rob Whiting. Whiting is now he's tagged him and he's gone wide. Whiting has tagged the back end of Mitchell Larson, and Larson's gone off and gone out of this race by the looks of it. Down to 4th, 5th, 6th place. Possibly the 7th. He's recovered. He's back on track and maybe just stay ahead of Davide Favo. So, hope he's going the right way around. I hope the game tells him if he's going the wrong way around, because that would be proper action.
Well, I tell you, Rob Whiting was brilliant there. He got the undercut, went wide on the turn into the right-hander, and basically just managed to squeeze in the inside of Mitchell Larson. And I think Larson maybe got himself a little bit tagged there. Here we go. Jason Absmeyer now up into 3rd position, getting past Visagie, and now he's going to chase down Heineke. Man, he could well be chasing down Rob Whiting before the end of this race.
Yeah, remember we're only on the first lap here, so look, you're getting into the second lap on the next one, and he's not too far away. He closes down on Heineke. Heineke is 3 seconds back on the front car there of Whiting. So as they get into the slipstream, going down the Audi straight now, this is where slipstream could come in. If we go on board, you'll probably hear that limiter going on board there with the cars now as they come in full flight. Watching not to run full boost. Yeah, there it is. Listen to that. Everything she's got, plus whatever the engine can throw at it. And they side by side. They're equally powerful cars. It's all race tactics and race driver skills now as they come side by side, heading towards Bilstein's Bridge. This is brilliant stuff. Absmeyer has got through. No, he hasn't. Heineke keeps him at bay. But it is so close between the two of them. And Jason Absmeyer cannot find a way through there on Chris Heineke. As they come under braking now for the S's heading into the start finish line. He's run wide. He's made a mistake. Heineke's run wide and Absmeyer's through. Absmeyer pulling through there into 2nd place. And Visagie's got to 3rd ahead of Heineke. So that cost him big time. That was brilliant stuff there. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, we got a yellow flag. We got a yellow flag there as well. Heineke making a big mistake. And Mitchell Larson, unfortunately, just seems to have lost a bit of pace. But now, Absmeyer, can he chase down Rob Whiting? It's a big gap, 4.8 seconds. This has been a terrific drive from Absmeyer so far. Looking further down, Greg, Charles Wilkin down in 14th place. Man, those troubles at the start of the race are really going to affect his chances for these semi-finals.
Yeah, that is for sure. I think Mitchell Larson's going to be kicking himself. Remember, he was in that Seagate green machine. There he is in the picture right now. Eli Vergara also going to put one of those cars in similar colours. But man, this has been top class action. I didn't expect this kind of action from this heat because we haven't got all the big players that we've got in the next one. So I'm hoping that this is not going to outshine what I've touted to be the group. Oh, there you go. Just put it on the grass. Why not? There's no problem. It's an Audi. It's a Quattro. It can go anywhere.
I mean, just look at the guys, the way that they're handling these cars at the moment. Eli Vergara, who's very happy with his race from yesterday, and he's got to do something. He's pulled himself back. He's right on he's going to go down the inside. No, but, yep, he's got around the outside. Terrific drive. And Clark got through as well.
Mental racing here, bud. Have a look at the timing monitor as well, Sish. Just glance down. Every now and again I catch it, and I'm sure you've been catching it as well. You go down from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, that's all good. You go to 6, 7, 8, that's also fine. When you get to 9th, 10th, and 11th, you see S Thunder. And I keep going, what? Yeah. Sarah van der Merwe. No, sorry, that's Sas van der Westhuizen.
Yeah, Robin Clark's got now ahead of... Sas van der Westhuizen got back past Eli Vergara. So, I mean, these guys are just playing musical chairs.
It's brilliant action. Brilliant action we're seeing here. Heineke now hanging on, trying to close down on Visagie again. They've both lost the toe there to the back end of Absmeyer. But Absmeyer is, what is he? About 4 seconds off the front. And Rob Whiting, I think, might be able to control that. Remember, we're on the 2nd lap. So Whiting has just got to keep it smooth and steady for the next part of this race. We've probably got about 10.5 k's to go as they're coming down the mountain now on the other side of the castle. The field.
Whoa, that was a little bit ugly. That's a little bit ugly from Davide Favo squeezing out Delport. Yeah, Delport should make easy work of Favo. He won't be happy the way they got bounced into the curb there, that's for sure. And also, Van der Bestezen on the back of Vergara as well. Come on, Delport. Let's see what you can do. Chasing down Davide Favo. Oh, he makes a big mistake. Goes into the wall. Oh, manages to get it back there. So he's quite lucky, but has lost quite a bit of time for Davide Favo. Davide Favo will be delighted to be up in 6th position at the moment. Let's see if he's going to be able to hold on to that. Now, we're on with Chris Heineke, who's right on the back of Visagie. So what can Heineke do? He needs to bounce back. He had a little bit of a mistake earlier on in the lap, and he'll definitely want to get revenge on Visagie. Also, he's got to watch in his mirrors because Mitchell Lyson is now chasing and catching Heineke at quite a rapid rate. So this is very much a battle for 4th position out on the circuit. What can Chris Heineke do? Gets off the throttle quite a lot there, watching what Visagie's doing in front of him. Runs a little bit wide, hard onto the brakes. Flick it into the left-hander, hard onto the accelerator as well. Come on, Heineke, what can you do about Visagie in front of you? The gap from to Absmeyer to Whiting now at 5.3 seconds. All right, let's see. Oh, go in the inside, A little bit of understeer from both of the cars, even though they're 4-wheel drive. Chris Heineke trying his best to do anything to get onto the back of Visagie. Look at Lyson. Lyson is right behind him now as well. Oh, he's taking it down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Let's see if Heineke can get past Visagie. He's done. And it was critical that he did it because Mitchell Lyson is with them as well. So Mitchell Lyson also going to be going for Visagie. Though he lost a little bit of time there as well. So brilliant racing from Chris Heineke. All right, we're with our leader, Rob Whiting, 5.8 seconds ahead of Jason Absmeyer in this 3rd of 4 quarterfinal 2 heats that we have in the Solidarity E-Race this evening. Hope you're enjoying the action. Unfortunately, I can't look at any of the comments, but we'll go through them a little bit later. Look at this battle between Mitchell Lyson and Visagie. Running wide there, Rob Whiting still pushing as hard as he can, even with a 5.8 second lead ahead of him. Absmeyer comfortably ahead of Heineke, and then what a battle for 4th and 5th. Well, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Heineke, Visagie, Mitchell Lyson, here they are, all line astern, going into the left-hander, running wide there from Heineke. Can Visagie pounce and take that position? Let's see as they come out down into this carry. That's Mitchell Lyson, I think. Look at that diving over there, unbelievable. 4 wheels in the right. Mitchell Lyson, wow, that is spectacular, and pushes himself into 4th position ahead of Visagie. I don't know if that's written in the rule books, but that was spectacular. Oh, Visagie seems to have had some kind of damage over there, or maybe just got shaken by a flying Audi coming into his eye line. Oh, I tell you, Heineke running very, very wide. This could give an opportunity for Mitchell Lyson. Oh, there we go. Visagie has come back and he's taken Heineke. And Mitchell Lyson is up into 3rd position. It's Visagie down in 4th, and Heineke has dropped 2 positions down to 5th. This is unbelievable with only a couple of kilometers left of this race. What a fight for 3rd position. Mitchell Lyson, after that tangling together earlier on, what a fight back. And the way he got some air. Brilliant stuff from this young kid. And he seems to be streaming away now at the moment. You can see the damage on Chris Heineke's car from bashing all over the place. From 3rd to 5th in a matter of about 1 kilometer. Here's Rob Whiting coming up towards the end of this race. He goes past the pit entry. A comfortable victory for Rob Whiting and a massive 25 points for him ahead of Jason Absmeyer. It's still not finished at the end. Great drive from Jason Absmeyer. He'll be very, very happy. You can see there, tossing his car left and right. And then what a scrap for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Man, that was spectacular. Mitchell Lyson, Visagie, and Heineke. Sure. Yeah, there we go. You guys deserve a cold drink at the end of this. Here we go, Eli Vergara getting pressure from Lombard. Will he be able to hold on to that 10th position? They've still got about 15 or 20 seconds to go. And that's Vergara actually chasing down Clark. I don't know if he's got enough to actually get to him. He's still second behind them. They've got about 9 or 10 seconds coming to the start-finish line to end this race. Wow. Sas van der Westhuizen dropping down to 14th place, so all sorts of problems there. Charles Wilkin climbing up. Oh, Vergara got through, unbelievable. Got through on Clark. That could be massive for the points because he finished last night in 5th. Tonight he'll finish in 9th. Charles Wilkin, you've got to say, with all of those problems right at the start of the race, to get up to 11th place, it's been an outstanding drive from Charles Wilkin. The last drive is coming across the line now. Sas van der Westhuizen, and then of course Brits, and Hans Solo is into the pits already. Marius Brits just cruising around there. He will be classified in 15th position, but my word, what a brilliant race. You got to say, Rob Whiting had it very much under control. Well, he didn't. He had Mitchell Lyson with him, and then the two of them sort of had it coming together. And Mitchell Lyson, of course, then managed to fight his way back. And that spectacular battle with Fasaki and Heineke in the last couple of kilometers of that lap, just memorable to watch. I don't know if there's a replay, if ever we can get it, but that car going off the ground, hitting the curbs and flying off into the air. Just brilliant stuff to watch there. Great racing from all of our drivers in our heat number 3, and hopefully our mathematicians and auditors are going to be doing all of the points number crunching at the moment. So at the end of our 4th heat, we'll know exactly who our top 60 are. But that would have been a good haul of points for Rob Whiting, a great haul of points for Jason Absmeyer. He needed a big race today, and he definitely delivered on that. And Lyson and the 3 other guys behind him as well all put themselves into the mix as well. A guy like Davide Favo all of a sudden puts himself into the mix, into that top 60 as well. So things looking very strong. We've still got one more race to go, and this is the one that Greg was calling the sort of the pool of death, with the amount of top drivers just in this event on its own. So I'm just going to call them up here, and then of course we can check out all of their names. Oh, that's not the one. Here we go. I've got it over here. Okay. Aha. Okay, I think it's coming up on the screen there. It's coming up in a couple of seconds, but I've got it in front of me here in any case. So here we go. Julian Familiaris, Mark Van. Well, there we go. This is how the guys who are on the server at the moment. Ryan Hill, Anthony Gunnam. We've got Van Rensburg, Brandon Kruger, Sean Hards, Christopher Langeveld, Blake Kruger, Dwayne. Oh, now we're going to get confused with the Krugers. We got Dwayne there. We got Devin Piazzamusa, Gerard Elman, Lorenzo Galtieri, who had a stunning race last night. Julian Familiaris is going to be up there. Trench Bear, Alaric Elselin, Rian Tienhuizen, Richard van der Heever, and Noah Hendricks. That is definitely the pool of death. It is going to be a fascinating battle with these contenders. And of course, it's all about the points. The points is what you need to accumulate to get into that top 60. And then, of course, that'll allow you a favorable sort of grid position when it comes to the qualifying tomorrow for the semi-finals. This is going to be another humdinger of a race. We've had 3 cracker races. All of these guys driving in the Audi Sport Quattro S1 Evolution 2. They're 2.1 litre engines, 5-cylinder turbo-driven engines. And I mean, I think the final spec of these cars put at something like 453 horsepower. I mean, kilowatts of power. So, I mean, these things are incredibly powerful. These cars around the track are around about 450 horsepower, and they've got the electronic aids. If you're just tuning in now, they also have the rev limiters. Down the long straights, they've got these rev limiters, and you can just hear the cars on the limit as well. And we've been told it does affect the cars. It all depends on what kind of turbo boost they're driving as well. But it's fascinating to watch, especially if they get side to side, because then it comes down to the bravery of going into the first corner. All right, let's have a look what's actually happening. I think we could have some action out on the qualifying that is on track at the moment. Of course, all of the drivers will go out there at the end of this qualifying session. That's how they'll line up. It is a rolling start. And a 7-minute 13 for Julian Familiaris, which is right up there with the times that were sent by Jordan Sherritt and Lorenzo Gautieri, just 7/10 behind him as well. For the rest of them, it's quite difficult to gauge because they might have made 1 or 2 mistakes. But when it comes into the race conditions, believe me, these guys are going to be right on the back of each other. If the last 2 races are anything to go by, we're in for another spectacular event around the Nordschleife. 5 cars out there, Devon Piazza Musa, but we're on board with Lorenzo Gautieri. In this qualifying session, they might only be able to get, look how wide and 4-wheel drip that was. I'm not sure who that was behind Gautieri, but we didn't get the name, but that was pushing it to the limit. In the start of this race, of course, they don't do a standing start. They actually go through the first chicane. And then, of course, the marshals give them the green light to go racing. They will go, as opposed to last night where they were...
Didn't want to work. I had to restart everything. I've had to reload everything. Oh, deepest creepers. Anyway, it looks like it's all okay. So hopefully we can get through this one. I missed the... I actually didn't miss it because I had my iPad open. So I did get to see Robert Whiting take the win. And that, of course, is going to move him onto 47 points. So he now moves into... third, because we've got first and second tied with Olifant and Sherritt on 50, 47 points for Whiting, 45 for Mahotsi, 42 for Corne Briet, and in fact, Jason Avmeyer with his position there, which he finished up in second place, puts him on 25 points. So he might be in the running here.
Yeah, without a doubt, Greg. And I tell you, I don't know if you saw it, but our little youngster, Mitchell Larson, went 4 wheels in the air, passing everybody. It was just out of this world.
I was trying to jump in there because that's when I thought I'd come back. I could hear you and I could see everything. And I was trying to jump in and you were saying, he forced his way through. I said, no, Sash, he launched his way through.
No, it was fantastic. It was just brilliant to watch. I mean, we had another fantastic heat over there. I mean, just so much fun. I think these guys are having an absolute ball in their sims this evening.
Well, the one cool thing is I managed to find out, and while I was trying to wait for my laptop to load up again, I could see that there was a bit of happening on the groups around. One comment came in, which was brilliant. I loved it. Kubis, from our headline sponsor, sent me a message and said, listen, do me a favor, which I jumped in and hopefully it came through. I don't know if it did because I wasn't sure if I was on or not at that point. But this particular car that Julian Familiaris, or this is Gutierrez, I should say, he has dubbed as the Seagate green car. So this is the green from Seagate. So we have to now name it as the Seagate green car because they are headline sponsors. So, of course, the red ones will probably be AfriHost cars. And then we'll play around with the other. AC will be blue. Pure Storage will be orange. Data Science Corporation will be the sort of turquoise-colored cars. And True Race will come in at whatever, the white cars. True Race for the white cars. So we've got all our sponsors covered there, which is quite cool. But Sash,
wonderful.
How that finished up. I mean, that was absolutely brilliant stuff. Now, if you look at, and I came in when you guys were going through the list, but if you look at that list, Familiaris, second last night. Chris Langeveld, first last night. Anthony Garnham, third last night. Ulrich Enslin, second last night. Lorenzo Gautieri, third last night. We have got 5 competitors that finished in the top 3 in this heat. And then that's not mentioning the fact that we've also got the likes of Devon Piazza Musso, who was in the mix, and Mark van Rensburg, our bounty hunter, looking for a chance to be in the mix as well.
Yeah, Greg, I mean, you called it. This is definitely the group of death when it comes to quarterfinals. Also, don't discount people like Noah Hendricks and the 2 Kruger brothers. I mean, this is going to be one hairy event as we stay on board with Lorenzo Gautieri.
Well, if he managed, go quickest, because he's looking pretty good. but there's still a long way to go in the lap, and I don't know if he's got enough time to make it to the start line to get that lap in as a qualifier to beat Julian Familiaris. Yeah, from here.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, about another, I don't know, about 3 or 4 minutes from this section, because they're still coming over the rise and past the castle. So there's a long way still to go here for Lorenzo Gualtieri to see if he can go probably about a second and a half quicker than the 7:13. If he was able to put it in, Gualtieri's lap, I think, Sash, would probably be in the 11s, similar to what we saw from Jordan Scherf.
Right up there, Greg, as well. Also, I do think with this qualifying, they might look at the splits as well, because Absmeyer at one stage was way down the original timing sheets, but with his splits, he managed to get himself up into the top 5 in that previous qualifying. So this qualifying system, I'm not 100% au fait exactly how it works, besides the numbers that we're seeing on the screens at present. But Gualtieri might be able to get ahead of Familiaris. I'm not entirely sure at this stage.
Yeah, that's if he gets to the line. He's got to get to the line to complete the lap. If he doesn't complete the lap, then he might just be found wanting slightly and have to start slightly further back. But he's still putting into second place, though, because he's sitting in second at the moment. As we see him coming through the 11 car, looking pretty good. And Lorenzo Gualtieri and Julian Familiaris, remember, have also gone to battle on numerous occasions in the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. So they'll definitely know each other's racing skills and probably be quite confident to race up close and personal with each other, having done it on the real track as well.
Yeah, no, I think these guys are getting pretty tense about this one, because they know each other's skill when it comes to the sim. They know what they did last night, and they know that this is going to be very close racing. There's going to be a lot of mirror looking tonight.
Was that Piazza Musso spinning out again? I think it was. I think he does that on purpose, man. He wants to make like the bloopers reel or the highlights reel. I'm not quite sure which one that would be, but in qualifying before a race like this, that will probably make the highlights for any production that we'll be looking at. The cool thing about what we're seeing right now in this fourth and final heat tonight is points are up for grabs, and these points are vital to get into the top 60. So what I've done so far is I've kind of ran a running tally of what we've had so far. If you're not in the sort of 25, 50, 40, up to the 50, which is perfect score so far for 2 drivers, Scherf and Oliphant, then you've got to be at least down in 25th to make that top, or 25 points scored to make into that top 60. We'll wait and see how that pans out, though, for a couple of these drivers, because there are a few of them that may also just cause some havoc. As I said, we're not even seeing Christopher Langeveld on track at the moment, and he finished first last night.
Yeah, I tell you, these guys are really going for it. I mean, it's magnificent to see what the guys are pushing it. Just looking at the splits on Gualtieri, he's about 2 seconds up on the splits at the moment. So right in that 7-11 bracket. So he's loving going around the circuit. And when you spoke to him the other night in the interview, man, he was just chuffed to be out there.
Yeah, he certainly was, and loving all of the e-Solidarity races that we put together. He's been involved in every single one. In fact, if you take into account, Sash, the very first one at Kyalami, in the first day of racing on the hot lap qualifiers at Kyalami, he topped the lists. So he's definitely a man who knows what to do in a race car, and as we saw, driving in stocks will certainly help you get the feel of those pedals below you as he gets that Audi onto the Audi Sport Straight.
Yeah, that was the one thing we did notice about him. He says, no, but the feel is completely different. You've got to know exactly what you're doing, which just shows you, there's so much attention to detail in order to get to be as precise as possible.
Langeveld putting in a 7:13.7, which is 0.3 off Julian Familiaris. That might move him into second place in this qualifier. We're not seeing all the times up there at this stage, but Familiaris and Gualtieri, 0.7 of a second between them. So the front row, I would say, is probably going to be Familiaris and Langeveld, with Gualtieri in third place. I'm not quite sure who's going to be alongside him as he comes across. He's put the lap in.
Oh, Gualtieri's gone fastest. He's gone fastest.
He's gone fastest.
7-11.
Wow, a 7:11.3. 7:11.3. I'm not quite sure what Jordan Scherf was, but I think it was a 7:11.2 or 1. But that is very close. He might have gone quickest tonight. So Lorenzo Gualtieri has definitely kept his best for last. And see all the cars like, look at that. Look at those liveries, man. Those look so good, Zach. Pick that up.
It is so magnificent to see these cars. pity the wall's in the way. But
we're
just
trying
lined up over there.
Try and get a better one. So we've got NEC blue, we've got Pure Storage orange, we've got Data Sciences turquoise, we've got AfriHost red, we've got True Race white, and we've got the Seagate green cars out there. Absolutely amazing stuff. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I tell you, that's just magnificent. We are in, Greg, for a cracking final race this evening. I mean, the first three have been spectacular. Let's hope that the guys don't take each other out too easily, but or crash into each other. But I must say, I think this is going to be a brilliant race.
I'm just hoping that nothing else happens on my side so I can actually see and finish the race. Man, I missed out on some action there. I saw Mitchie, the kid, getting absolutely airborne through the one section to force his way through. So brilliant stuff. I'm not quite sure if that's going to stand. We'll have to wait and see what the final results are with our COC. And, of course, the race stewards in the background. They're working frantically. What an amazing job they've done. Neil Marks, Jason Holden-Jones, and, of course, all of our team in the background as well, doing a great job to ensure that we can put this production together and you guys can enjoy the race action that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, it's just spectacular with everything that's going on. And you know, Greg, thank goodness there's two of us, because at the beginning of the show, I lost my connection and now you lost yours. At least we're back together again.
Well, there's a possibility we'll have a couple more with us tomorrow night as well, Sash, so we should be okay. We've got 5 guys who are in the running.
Get those commentary entries in as quickly as possible. There we go. We need some backup just in case.
Just in case we can get them in. It looks like we've got one more car to still come in there. We're just waiting for them to start. As soon as we get the start procedure, it looks like there's a couple of guys still coming into that start procedure. Once it's ready to go, you'll see them slot into their grid positions. And then they've got to stay line astern until they come into the first wooded section, which is just about a K into the track and just before they go under the Hockenhaken bridge. So basically that's the green flag and the go point.
Well, there we go. Everyone's slotting into their positions on the grid, getting ready for quarterfinal for the Solidarity E-Race Nordschleife version 3. And we've got Lorenzo Galtieri on pole position this evening. I wonder what Salvi's sitting and thinking about this, watching. I wonder why he's not racing and playing.
Yeah, I was thinking that the other night when we did that interview. And also to mention the fact that, of course, he said that Simtech are his sponsor. They're also the sponsor of the 2 big rigs that you can find at the Ridgeway Race Bar, where we have the big F1 events similar to what you do at all your venues, Sash. There's always great interaction on those sims that happen there. And the guys actually get into the cars during the race and have a bit of fun and games amongst themselves while they're watching the F1 at Ridgeway Race Bar, which is really, really cool. But, of course, that setup is all courtesy of the same guys who do Galtieri's setup too.
Oh, fantastic stuff. I mean, this is just going to be terrific to watch. Are we going racing? The guys are getting out onto the circuit now. As mentioned, it is a rolling start. They will drive in single file. And then, of course, they'll fire off as soon as possible. This is going to be very, very close, Greg.
Yeah, you can see them rolling off there on the screen just on our right-hand side, your left-hand side as you look at it. They're coming to the start line. We're going to go to live pictures right now. Here it comes, ladies and gents, the 4th and final heat of the Solidarity E-Race quarterfinals here, the Nordschleife version, courtesy of Seagate Gaming and all our associate sponsors. It's supposed to be line astern, not side by side. They're coming into the wooded section. It's go time. Here we go. It's Seagate green out front, 2 cars. Right on their tail is the orange car coming out of Pure Storage. Watch out for the red cars coming from AfriHost. True Races white. And look out for those NEC blue machines as well as they make their way down to the top line. On the left-hand side, you see a little board that says 3Ks to go. That's the go point. Green flags, and we're racing.
And we're racing. Lorenzo Galtieri has got the long shot. He's the man who posted the posted the quickest time in qualifying. And I tell you, he got a great start over there. Familiar is right behind him. Lagerfeld, look at them flying over there. 4-wheel drive. Unbelievable. No changes at the moment. Everyone seems to be nice and clean. We've got the CK green. We're on board now with Blake Kruger. And he's going to be chasing down Bradley Kruger. So, Kruger looking at Elric Antolin. Looking at Tienis.
Can you imagine the household in the Kruger household right now with Blake and Brandon sitting right next to each other and fighting on track at the same time? The sort of air must be a bit blue, although they are still youngsters, so they'll have to watch what they say in terms of expletives in front of mom and dad. But I tell you, it's going to be top quality stuff in that house, as well as what we're seeing right now as they head down into the second part of the circuit. Brilliant stuff here as we go on board with Ulrich Enslin. Now, Ulrich Enslin at this point in time, not where he wants to be. He's in 5th place. He's got to try and get a little bit higher up. Remember, Enslin finished up last night in 2nd, so he scored 22 points. Right now in 5th, he's losing points there to Garnham, Van Rensburg, Familiaris, and Gualtieri.
Yeah, I tell you, but Enslin made light work of Van Langeveld, so he's ahead of him as well. So Garnham is his next target. We're looking further down the field. The Krugers are still having a great fight as well. But Julian Familiaris is pushing Lorenzo Gualtieri. The two of them are 2 seconds ahead of Van Rensburg. These two guys were the two quickest when it came to their pole positions this afternoon. But can Familiaris do anything about Gualtieri? Gualtieri will have his mirrors full of Familiaris. So these two are really, really going to be concentrating hard.
Formation flying here as well, if you look at what they've done in terms of the liveries on those cars. So I wonder if that was all part and parcel of their planning. Just great to see them. I'm just looking at the way they came into this one as well. Familiaris, he decided to go. I'm just trying to pick up on there. He went with 12. Gualtieri went with 11. Yeah, so the two of them are running almost teammate style. 11 and 12 in Formula 1, Sash. I can't remember the teams that used to run that number. It's not like my favorite team that ran 27 and 28 all the time. But certainly 11 and 12 in the Seagate green colours, getting away from the rest of this pack and leaving Van Rensburg to fight it out with Garnham and with Ulrich Enslin.
Well, I can tell you, B. Kruger is just past B. Kruger.
Oh, good. I wonder if that's Blake ahead of Brandon or Brandon ahead of Blake. We'll have to wait and see at the end of this one. Maybe somebody can give us that information. But I think it's good for the crowd.
Okay, so Brandon is ahead of Blake.
So they're not going in alphabetical order.
No, I tell you, Ulrich Enslin all on the back of Garnham at the moment. But we are now with Blake Kruger taking down his brother Brandon Kruger. And just in front of them, they've got Devin Piazza Musa. So it's going to be frantic racing for the next 15 to 16 minutes around the Nordschleife. At the front, Gualtieri not being able to get ahead of Familiaris. And now we're on with Ulrich Enslin, and he is pushing really, really hard to get a hold of Garnham. But Gualtieri's got off. Oh, it's Enslin.
It's Gualtieri.
No.
There was a little tap down Gualtieri as well. And Enslin is back on track, but Tiens has lost out there big time. I think that was not quite what he wanted. He was trying to go defensive, but Ulrich Enslin just got the line right, found a way through, and forced it in the end. Now we look, as we watch this battle between Van Rensburg. Van Rensburg, I think, is now closed on the back end of Lorenzo Gualtieri. I saw him going to the orange on the left-hand side of the screen. If you're watching at home and you see the name highlighted in orange, it means there's an issue with that car. And Lorenzo Gualtieri, at the same time we saw Enslin take out Tiens, or Tiens take out Enslin, whichever way you want to look at that, the same time as where Gualtieri made a mistake. So he's lost lots of ground, almost 5 seconds now to Familiaris out front.
Yeah, and I tell you, Van Rensburg's right behind him as well. So a big mistake there from Lorenzo Gualtieri. He'll be kicking himself. Familiaris now has a comfortable 5-second lead in front of him. But we're still here with Van Rensburg pushing down on Gualtieri. Gualtieri now really has to get himself composed and make sure that he can fight back, because he knows he can be 2 seconds quicker than Familiaris. And at the moment, that's going to take a full 2 laps to do that. So let's see what he can do about it.
Looks like Sean Holmes had a bit of problems as well further back in the pack there. He's dropped down to 14th place after a mistake on the circuit. Ulrich Enslin, as you watch him heading up over the top now, trying to close down on Garnham. And I tell you, Anthony Garnham is also meant to watch out for. Remember, he finished up in 4th place last night. 3rd place last night. So he was just behind Ulrich Enslin, scoring 20 points in the process. Enslin only scored 22. So this is a battle not only for honours on track, but also honours in terms of the pole positions forward. This battle, though, is starting to rage. Tiens, Piazza Musa, Kruger, and just ahead of them there, you can see they are giving it everything they can, and never take out of the equation there as well. The car there of Hendricks, Noah Hendricks in the mix as well.
Yeah, I tell you, unbelievable. Kruger got ahead of Tiens and ahead of Piazza Musso. Piazza Musso under all sorts of pressure. We're on the back with Rian Tiernissen. He's pushing hard to get past Blake Kruger, and I tell you, Brandon pushing hard on Piazza Musso. Here we go, Rian Tiernissen. Can he do anything on the outside? Maybe do the undercut. Oh, follows him through. Great driving by both of these drivers. Come on, can Rian Tiernissen do anything? He's going to try and look at the outside lane. Now looking on the inside, but Kruger holding his line perfectly. So brilliant driving from both of them as they come down the long straight. Look at the weaving there, Greg.
Yeah, watch the slipstream though, just ahead there, Fred, if you can. Just ahead of this battle, the slipstream effect from Ulrich Ensslin on Garnham, I think he's got through. You can see those two cars just going under the Bullstein bridge right now. That's Ensslin side by side. Here he comes. We're on board with him. Limiters on, flat out. Wow. He just keeps it buried on the grass. He goes around outside of the grass. Can you believe that? Trying to find a way through down Anthony Garnham. Garnham shuts the door. Garnham fortunately had the traction though. But what a move there from Ulrich Ensslin, trying to pass the man right the clearing style on the grass.
Well, I tell you, Ensslin must have got a little bit of a shock there when Garnham moved over to the right and forced him onto the grass. He had to lift off the throttle big time. So I tell you, he'll be swearing in his helmet at the moment. But let's see if he can do anything about Garnham. But whoa, that was hairy.
Amazing stuff there from the two of them. Anthony Garnham though is fending off the attack here big time from the man who won at Kyalami. Remember, he has got to drive with the Universal Motorsport team, a test drive there with their Polo Cup team. Oh, there's a big mistake there. Big mistake coming out of Ulrich Ensslin, sliding out of that corner. Look at the ground he's lost. It's 10 car lengths, and he's still making mistakes. Still making huge mistakes as they come through the start-finish line and start the second lap. They're onto the second lap right now, Seth. This is the one that counts. And Anthony Garnham's got a little bit of breathing room there between himself and Ulrich Ensslin.
Yeah, Ensslin made a bit of a mistake. Look at them coming over there. It's amazing that these cars don't actually take off. Brilliant stuff. Garnham got a little bit of the measure of Ensslin. Ensslin can still get in there. He's only 1.3 seconds behind. At the rest of it, out front there, Familiaris, Galtieri, nothing about he's putting a 10th here and there. He's still 4 seconds behind Familiaris. Here we are, Anthony Garnham, who is running in third place, catching Van Rensburg nicely. I tell you, this is going to come down to the wire. Garnham catching Van Rensburg. Ensslin dropping back a little bit from Garnham, but maybe he can do something in the next couple of kilometers.
Nice battle here between Blake Kruger and Noah Hendricks as well. Pick up on the action there for the top 10 honours. Blake Kruger at this point just trying to find a way to close down on the back end of Devin Piazza Musso, but he hasn't been able to do that. Reason he hasn't been able to do that, he's got Noah Hendricks all over it. And Blake Kruger now looking for a chance on Piazza Musso. Now that he's bridged that gap, can he find a way through there? The third of those two fake green machines out front there, and it's Devin Piazza Musso, who is defending at every opportunity, even using a bit of the curve to defend as well. You've got to be very careful when you're in this up close and personal that you don't get that target fixation. If the driver in front of you makes a mistake, there's a very good possibility, if you're too close and watching too closely as well, that you might make the same mistake.
Yeah, I tell you, Piazza Musso is making his Audi look extremely wide, and Brandon Kruger is really having to have his wits about him to try and find a way past Piazza Musso. He seems to have a lot more speed. But the problem is that he's getting that speed through the tight sections of the track, and when they get onto the straights, there's not much he can do about him. So he's got to make sure out of these tight corners, going into one of the long straights, he's got to have the traction. There, runs wide. That's the mistake that you don't need to make, because now he would have needed to have that long shot going into the fast corners.
Coming down the hill now, you can see just how tough it is. Right, it looks like there's a big action happening up front. Ulrich Ensslin has made up that gap, made up the ground on Garnham. We're on board with him as he heads up towards the Swallowtail, and then of course heading onto the very, very quick section of the circuit, the fastest part of the track. They're coming down into what is known as Swallowtail, or the little carousel, and there's hardly anything in it. But Ulrich Ensslin hasn't quite bridged that gap completely yet. He's just squeezing it a little bit, but there's not enough there just yet for him to make a move. And he's got to get a lot closer to Garnham if he wants to on Anthony Garnham. Van Rensburg is also being closed down rapidly. Look how tight it is there between Van Rensburg just ahead. 3 on that onboard shot of Ulrich Ensslin.
Yeah, I tell you, Greg, if Van Rensburg slows down Garnham, this could really help Ensslin. But Ensslin looking a little bit ragged. really trying to chase it. 1.3 seconds. He's pulled out another little bit of a 10th. And all the time, Ganem getting closer to Van Rensburg as well. So this is going to be a massive three-way battle for third place in the next kilometer or two.
No, I think there's a problem there, Stash. I just heard in my ears, they reckon that these Audi Quattros are taking a bit of strain because there's a lot of oil left over from the Alphas yesterday.
Oh, my word. That joke will never, ever go away.
I apologize to Uncle Arnold for that. I'm so sorry, Uncle Arnold.
Here we go. Enselen now closer to Ganem than Ganem was to Van Rensburg. So, this is the huge battle for third place. Galtieri's pulled 2/10 on Familiaris, but nothing there. Van Rensburg, 7 seconds behind Galtieri. But this is the battle for the podium. If you want to call, in the top 3. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It is Van Rensburg, Ganem, and Enselen.
Yeah, Enselen, I think, needs that podium. He has to get that podium finish. If he gets into third place, he'll be moving from 22 points up into 42 points. If he only gets third, of course, he'll be going to similar points scored there. The Kruger battle starting to heat up as well. The two brothers going at it. This is great, Dave. Brandon and Blake not holding anything back. Can you imagine the words and the swearing that's happening between these two youngsters in their house? That'd be brilliant.
Oh, Blake Kruger's made a big mistake.
Oh, it's a big mistake. Big mistake.
Oh, I think this is Brandon Kruger.
They're going to make him pay for it. Oh, so.
Oh, okay, there we go. There.
On Blake fending off the attack of his brother. Oh, brilliant. This is so good. Sash, can you imagine the conversation that's happening in that house right now between these two brothers as they go at it? It'll just be insane.
Fantastic stuff to watch here.
Brilliant.
Oh, he's run wide. He's run wide. Is he going to come down the inside? He's gone around the outside. Off the track. All 4 wheels off the track. Look at these two going, dicing it. Unbelievable driving. Brilliant. And there we go. It's Kruger's got ahead of Piazza Musa now. And the other Kruger now. It's Kruger. No, it's Piazza Musa. There we go. And Piazza Musa has actually just got past Kruger again. So it's unbelievable. The other Blake Kruger's chasing after Tiernison. So, I mean, there's just action all over the place. And Ganem can do nothing about Van Rensburg. Enselen can do nothing about Ganem.
Well, the leader should be on the main straight right now, heading towards those last couple of corners. As we're watching this fight for 8th, 9th, and 10th place. Kruger, Noah Hendricks just behind him, and just ahead of him there is Devin Piazza Musa. Devin Piazza Musa has had a phenomenal second half to this race. They're going onto the Audi straight right now. They go under that R8 bridge. That takes them into what is 6th gear, into the rev limiter. And as you heard earlier on, hopefully on that rev limiter, not holding full boost because those engines will take major strain at full boost here, heading down. Cross the line, it's going to be Julian Familiaris. He's taking the win. Lorenzo Galtieri comes through for second place. That is top quality stuff from those two. Now, Galtieri came back at him big time there. So that's certainly going to help him out. So Familiaris is going to take... oh, yeah, there we go. There we go.
Listen,
so
Galtieri had a fastest lap there of a 7:11. So right up there with his qualifying time as well. Look at this. Blake Kruger right in the back of Devin Piazza Musa. Trying to squeeze him down the inside but runs wide. Where's Piazza Musa? Can he come back at him? Oh, I think the stewards are going to look at that. Oh, Ulrich Enselen into the pits, Greg. Ulrich Enselen into the pits. Classified down in 10th.
That's what's going to happen there. You can see just how these guys are playing out in the end stage, and a little bit of some antics happening on the circuit as well. So Tiernison is going to come through for 4th place and pick up on him quickly for 4th place there. So that's a great bit of maneuvering from him. He's going to move up. Yesterday, of course, he was down in 10th. So a nice 4th place will make him 38 points on the board, which is brilliant stuff there for Rian Tiernison. And then, of course, Anthony Garnham. Anthony Garnham, we did say was going to be a man to watch out for in this one. He finished up in 4th place. So brilliant stuff from Anthony Garnham. He goes to 38 points as well. It's brilliant stuff. So Julian Familiaris, who takes the win. Familiaris will only finish up on 45 points, though, with that win, considering his points from last night's Sash. So if I just grab my points, hopefully I've got them all right. But, of course, we are going to get confirmation of those too. We've got 2 drivers on 50 points. That's going to be Jordan Sherritt and Leslie Oliphant. Then we're going to go to 47 points for Robert Whiting. Robert Whiting taking 47 points. We've got two drivers, if I'm not mistaken, on 45. Yeah, that'll be Machotzi and Julian Familiaris. And then we're going to go to 42 for Lorenzo Gualtieri and 42 for Corne Briet. So there's a lot of drivers on equal points here. Big maneuvers tonight, though, came from Arno Fasaki. He moves from 10 to 28. Rian Tennyson moves from 10 to 36 points. And, of course, wow. Jason Absmeyer, probably the biggest maneuver that we had all night, 3 points to 25 points. Is that going to be enough to keep Absmeyer in the hunt? Or we're going to wait for a couple of minutes' time and hopefully our technical crew, I know they've been working frantically, but they've got a little bit of extra work to do now and try and give us all the points scored that we've had tonight, Sash. It's been absolutely brilliant stuff, though. Every single heat of tonight is exactly what we expected when we threw these Audi turbos into the mix.
Yeah, I think what's also just so great about it is, Greg, last night was a quarterfinal. They knew they were going to do 2 rounds of the quarterfinals, even though they were going to be racing against different competitors. But the whole point structures made them realize that tonight was so critical. So, the guys have done an outstanding job in their quality and caliber of racing. But I think they had so much fun hustling those Audis around. I mean, it looks like a fun car to drive.
Confirmation of the result there, Sash. Familiaris from Gualtieri, Van Rensburg, Garnham, Tennyson. Then it was Kruger and Kruger. Oh, the brothers there in 6 and 7. Top 10 for them. Noah Hendricks, Devin Piazzamusso down in 9th after that unceremoniously being taken out in the final corner. Then it was Dwayne. Dwayne takes a good drive from him. I think that I'm just trying to pick up on Dwayne from Skullpack, sorry. Then you've got Ulrich Enselen, dude, in the pits.
Yeah.
In 11th place. Something went wrong there on that last lap for Ulrich Enselen. Now, if I take Ulrich Enselen, it's one I didn't take into account here, but he finished yesterday in 2nd. So 11th place will be giving him 9 points. 22 and 9 is 31. So, he's still there. He's still got a chance.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there. I mean, I suppose with all of these gadgets, you can push the wrong button by mistake. But if he's gone into the pit, we're not entirely sure if that's going to be classified. He might get classified last, Greg. But because of his results yesterday, he might be able to sneak in. But we'll wait for official results.
There's questions on the Seagate Solidarity E-Race WhatsApp group saying, Ulrich, did you finish? It said you went into the pits before the race ended. And he hasn't responded yet, so I'm not quite sure. And if that is the case, then he won't be scoring 31. If he doesn't get classified and he finishes, how many do we have in that, Brennan? Sorry, I just
15.
needed that for a little bit longer. 15. It'll only give him 5 points, which will give him... Okay, so
19 runners. Sorry, Greg.
No worries at all, Sash. So 19 will give him 1 point. He's going to get 23 points if he's not classified. We'll wait and see if that's the case. 23 might be out of it, Sash. I'm saying you've got to be 25 and above. Whether or not that's going to be the case, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. Maybe my maths is not as good as what I think it is, and it probably isn't.
Well, listen, hopefully our auditors will put it all together and give us an update in terms of who's in and who's out. But the critical part now is getting our top 60 for tomorrow's semi-finals, where we're going to be racing with the Porsche and the Pagani. So, I mean, Greg, that's also going to be spectacular. I mean, we've gone from a 60s, classic car into one of the greatest ever rally cars that has ever made, into 2 hypercars tomorrow. I mean, it's just spectacular.
Yeah. And take into account, the 918 at one stage at one point in time, was the fastest road-going car around this circuit. I know my hand's going out of shot there, so there you go. See, that's where my green screen is. That's where it isn't. That's what we're doing here. We're allowed to have some fun. Come on, we're allowed to have some fun. But currently, Seth, the fastest road-going car is in the hands of a sister company, Lamborghini, with an Aventador, 6:44.97, fastest road-going car ever around the Nordschleife. But as I said, the 918 at one point in its career was the fastest road-going car around the Nordschleife. So that's why they've gone with that option. And also have a look in giving Porsche and Zonda 2 very, very quick hypercars and 2 beasts to play with tomorrow as well. But on a different level to what we saw tonight in terms of the rally cars.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, these are hugely high downforce, massive power vehicles. You know, your braking points are now completely different. Your turning angles are completely different. So, I mean, you know, the drivers now really have to go and prepare themselves and set them up for something completely different. They would have had fun, you know, spinning those Audis all over the place. What you can do, and you must probably get that grip. They'll have massive mechanic grip from the cars tomorrow night, but also the speed differential is going to be huge. So, I mean, the braking points are completely different. So it's a completely different way of driving as well.
Yeah. Taking into account what I've just picked up on the Solidarity group as well, the question was answered by Ulrich. He said he hit the wall in the last corner, and it said he cut the corner, and that allowed him to be DNF'd. So I'm sure he's going to probably appeal that and possibly ask for it to be reinstated, having hit the wall and not done any damage to anybody else other than himself. But that'll be up to our stewards and of course our COC to make that call. But that was the call coming from Ulrich, and answering the question earlier on, did you finish? Yes, he did. But he did finish in pit lane, and unfortunately that could be costly for him. It may give him 31 points or possibly 23 points if he's DNF'd. And that'll be up, of course, up for grabs. Remember, anything that comes up right now in terms of the results that we're hoping to get in the next couple of minutes from our team backstage will be provisional. A lot of guys may have put in protests. There may be some issues that have to be sorted out overnight. And all of those will be announced tomorrow morning in terms of the official results for tonight's action.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important. So everything is provisional at this stage. Once we've got all clarification, any kind of discrepancies from various drivers, the COCs, the stewards would have also looked at some incidents as well and maybe dish out 1 or 2 penalties. So tomorrow we will have official results of our top 60, Greg. But I must say, it has been terrific racing this evening.
I'm not laughing at you, sorry. I'm just seeing some of the comments that have come through here. Particularly from Jonathan McWatty. I can't say the first word, but it's a really bad word. And then he says, you had us off our seats here. I love the fact that these guys have a go at each other, even though they're not racing each other, but there's a possibility that they will be at some point in this edition of the Seagate Racing Solidarity E-Race. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you know, also going through, I mean, Sas van der Westhuizen, that was such a fun race. You know, there's just so many great, nice races, guys. Good race, gents. That was fun from people are really, really getting involved in it. And I think, you know, Greg, with all of the leagues that the people race in, and a lot of them are, you know, GT3 cars, or they go and race in a classic series or whatever, to have a mix like we've had so far already, I think, you know, just adds a tremendous amount of spice.
Well, I've got to say, Seth, I have to echo you 100% there. The camaraderie on and off the track, the ability to create the action that we've had in all 3 versions of this, and particularly here at the Nordschleife. A lot of guys were a bit concerned about the Nordschleife not delivering what we kind of expected in terms of race action. But, of course, that has been thrown out the window, the one on my left-hand side here, completely. Because what we've seen tonight has shut all the pundits down, all the critics down in terms of race action. They were saying the race action was not going to happen due to what we saw last night with a bit of a sort of a spread-out event where there were only maybe 1 or 2 guys that were fighting it. Tonight we had 5 or 6 drivers in each heat that were fighting hard. And that's what we're going to expect over the next couple of nights as well. So there's no doubt about it in my mind. I think the other thing we need to take into account, of course, is remember, we have got the commentator search happening tomorrow night as well.
Yes.
So in order to cater for 6 heats of racing, plus the additional commentators joining us for each of those heats, and potentially may only be 5 of them at this point, because we've only got 5 entries into that competition. One thing I've got to say is there's a very good possibility we may start slightly earlier, guys. It's not confirmed yet, so keep your eyes and ears open to tomorrow's posts. We'll let you know via all the social media platforms, and to all the drivers that are watching us as well. There will be an email going out to all the drivers to tell you exactly what time we're going to be starting proceedings tomorrow, because of us having slightly more races and the fact that we've got our other commentators joining us, the potential winners of this competition. We may need a little bit of extra time to play around with, and we don't want to be running too late into the night, because then we start to lose the incredible engagement we've had on social media.
No, 100%. And then, of course, everyone wants to go out jolling.
Yes. Well, it is,
in lockdown.
It is Saturday, so where's the party, Sash? Where are you DJing tomorrow night, Sash Martinengo?
Yeah, at the Club Romania.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to be. I'll be alongside you just at Club Duvet.
Man, that was such brilliant racing. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I'm just waiting to see you. I know there's been a call out there. We're going to give them a couple more minutes. It's not going to be easy to tally up all those scores, but hopefully we get just some kind of indication as to who the top 60 are. Provisionally, of course. It's going to be sorted by tomorrow, and we'll put a post out about that as well, and an email to all the top 60 drivers who've made it through. But I've got to say, Sash, from literally flag dropping in race 1 to flag dropping at the end of race 4 here tonight, all 4 heats had something special about them.
Agreed, Greg. I mean, we just saw some great driving at the front. We saw some great driving, for podium position. We saw some great driving in the midfield, and we saw some great driving at the back as well. And I think, that's also the great thing about this kind of sort of lottery when you come to actually putting these quarterfinals together. Those guys who qualified or had their hot laps in the 70s are really not going to contend with the guys who got them in the top 10. But there will be other drivers that they're going to be able to race with. And I think that really, really makes it a lot more comfortable for everyone to get involved with. Anybody can take part. You don't have to be a very, very experienced sim driver, to take part in these Solidarity e-racing events.
Yeah, and I think that's what we want to be showing people and showcasing with the sim racing world here, is that there is a lot of camaraderie amongst the drivers. There's a lot of fun, in fact, not a little bit. There's a lot of fun that happens. And this happens on a weekly basis, week in, week out. I mean, last night, as an example, we had to shuffle around a big league event for Raceface and a big league event for the NX Legends guys too. I know that last night we were also chatting to, and Shan Lopesha was on board listening to us via the social commentary, and he's got 2 big karting e-sport events happening on the weekend. One at 2 o'clock in the morning and one at, I think, 7 o'clock at night. So there's just non-stop action in this world, and it's a world that you and I have not really been involved in since lockdown. We've now been opened up, and the doors have been opened up graciously to us, and we've been invited in. But it certainly shows that a lot of people are not realizing how big esports actually is.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, don't forget, this is only one part of it. This is just racing. I mean, think of all of the other games that are out there. But now I know why the internet's so slow in South Africa. Everyone's racing.
Everyone's racing at night. So you want to try and get your posts up, and you can't because the internet's so slow. Thank goodness we've got sponsors like we've got that can give us that fast internet, eh?
Yeah, that's very true. Thank goodness for that.
I've got them, Sash. I've got the provisional.
You got them.
Right now. Yeah, they've just been put up there. So exactly as I said, we've got 2 drivers on 50, Jordan Sherritt and Leslie Oliphant. 2 drivers on 47 points. That's Julian Familiaris and Rob Whiting. Then we've got 45 for Machotsi, Lorenzo Gotteri in 42, 40 for Yuri Swart, 38 for Anthony Garnham, Wesley Front on 38 as well, and another driver, it's Van Rensburg there in 38. So 3 drivers tied for 38 points. Theobald Brummer in 37, Devin Alicia 34, Corne Briet 34, Mitchell Lyson 34, 32 for Chris Heineke. Byron Mitchell will score 32 as well. Ulrich Ensslin 31, so he has been classified and in that 11th place for the DNF. There we go, coming up on screen. And then Devin Piazzamusso just behind Darren Peens. So that's how it looks at the moment for, what is that, 2, 4, 6,
top 20,
8,
yeah.
20, yeah. We've still got another 20 and another 20 to come after that too.
Yeah, I've got the next 20 that we've got here. Brandon Kruger, he's on 29 points. Taku and Anna Fasaki on 28. Zander Rutz and Eli Vergara, they're on 27. Christo Langeveld, Tian van Rooyen, and Jason Absmeyer all on 25. Then we've got Stefan Engelbrecht on his own at 24. 2 on 23, Raymond Duggan and Alton Bow on 23, and David Favo on 22.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're going to be looking at. As I said, these are all unofficial results right now, provisional for now. Once we've got everything sorted out 100%, of course, the The rest will then be put up tomorrow morning, and official results will be put up as soon as they are available. It may even be tonight. I know that Neil and Jason will probably work frantically this evening to try and get those provisional results out so that they can be posted on Discord. So keep your eyes on Discord if you are driving and you have been watching us after your drives tonight. And if you have got drivers involved in the series and you're watching us via our Facebook feed and all of our feed here via social media as well as YouTube, we're also been going out live on some of our sponsors pages tonight, cross-posting to the sponsors pages too, Sash. That's also important for these guys.
Yeah, which is great to have more people as well. So this is the elimination group.
Yeah.
Oh, tell you, good luck for that. That's going to be tight.
Rian Tennyson can't be in there as well. Look at the battles that those two guys had tonight.
Sure. Well, and you got Stuart Mack. Don't discount him if he's back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, there's going to be a couple of guys that'll be on the reserve list as well, in case guys have got any problems at the start, like we always have. From this point on, we filtered down. We didn't have to filter down this time. We had a top 80 that we went to. The top 80 have now fought over 2 nights in the quarterfinals and have gone at it big time in the Alfa Romeo 33 Stradale and the Audi S1 E2. And now what happens is those points are null and void for tomorrow night. They score separately in the 2 heats that they're going to drive in 2 separate cars tomorrow night. And then we whittle down to top 20 for the grand final and 21st to 40th for the plate final. But there will be drivers put into reserve positions in case any of the drivers that make it through to those top finals have any issues with internet or have issues that they may have to pull out. So there are reserve drivers, and there may even be invitational drivers at the discretion of the organizers as well.
Yeah, and of course, and that's why the point system is so vital from especially from tomorrow night. So we're going to have to watch that. I cannot wait for the racing tomorrow, and also to see those magnificent cars around the Nordschleife as well, Greg.
Well, we're looking at a possibility of starting a little bit earlier, but as I said, ladies and gents, we won't publish that time tonight. We will let you know via our social media posts tomorrow as to the exact time we go live. It may be slightly earlier because we've got slightly more events to get through tomorrow night, 6 races as opposed to tonight's 4 and last night's 4, plus the commentator search competition running in conjunction with those 6 semi-finals. So there's a lot of action tomorrow night. You definitely don't want to be missing it. Sasha Martinengo, Porsche or Zonda? Which one are you looking forward to more?
I think the Porsche. I must be honest. I think that's just one of the most. I mean, the Zonda is so beautiful to look at, but I think the Porsche is going to be very fast tomorrow night.
Well, what I am going to tell you is have a wait and see, and look at the incredible livery packages that Jason Holden-Jones and his team have put together for tomorrow night's cars. We'll try and get a bit of preview on that also on social media tomorrow morning, so you can have a little glimpse at what you can potentially look at tomorrow night for the action coming from Seagate Gaming's Solidarity E-Race, the Nordschleife affair. On behalf of Sacha Martinengo, my very good friend alongside me here, we've had an epic battle tonight, not only with ourselves and the commentary, but also with the internet. Fortunately, we came out on top, and we're looking forward to coming out on top tomorrow night with semi-finals. We definitely won the internet battle with all of our sponsors. So, guys, take care then. Bye-bye now. And from our side, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.